and J.J. Watt coming around from the other side, clipping him. And I thought it was just a tremendous play. Obviously, we know the Arizona Cardinals played a great game, and it just never was in the cards for the Titans. It was just never a game. It was Arizona from start to finish,
Yep.
And that's how it'll be for week one.
Yeah, and it was just not a good showing by the Titans at all. Here's the interesting, or the telling stat for you. Last year, Harold Landry led the Titans in sacks with 5.5. Chandler Jones is now a half a sack off from the high for the Titans last year with Harold Landry after one game. Now, that's obviously something that just doesn't happen a lot, but it did in this case yesterday, and it just completely wrecked whatever that game plan was that the Titans had. I take nothing away from the Arizona Cardinals. They did play a great game. They played a clean game. They did well. I say that they had a lot of penalties early on, but they were able to straighten that part out. But the Titans were just discombobulated from the very beginning, and it goes back to something that we talked about, and I feel like Willie's playing right now, but I feel like all three of us were like, okay. Playing in the preseason as a veteran, okay, that's not that big of a deal. A lot of veterans don't play in the preseason. Whatever, that's fine. It's when you're not on the practice field that's a concern. And there were so many days where we were reading on Twitter, Julio Jones, isn't practicing, or Derrick Henry isn't practicing. A.J. Brown isn't practicing. And we kept having those same conversations about chemistry and what kind of chemistry Ryan Tannehill and Julio Jones especially were going to have. Darren, that looked like a team that didn't practice. That's what that looked like.
Well, I mean, you can certainly go that direction. I don't know how much pushback you could get. I mean, I guess Mike Vrabel will get asked something to that effect today, and we'll have to answer that question. Like I said, and maybe he will have an answer that is in the category of pushing back. But I don't really know how you could look at that and not do that. It's a question that I raised, at least on the Julio Jones, Ryan Tannehill front. I said, if you remember, I posed that question, like, we sure this is a good idea for, like, I don't need to see Derrick Henry in preseason. Yeah. Like, I don't need to see him. Like, you don't need your running back out there in preseason. Like, A.J. Brown even now, I don't really need to see A.J. Brown, although it wouldn't have hurt for a series or two, but I don't really need to see him. It's like a new guy like Julio Jones. Like, I question, like, do you really want your quarterback and your a star receiver not having any work going into the regular season? And, I got the pushback of, what if they get hurt? And I get all that. And that is the tricky dynamic, right? If you're John Harbaugh and you play a starter, everybody should be applauding because that's the same conversation that we're having. Although that was a running back, and I don't know why you would play a running back in preseason. But John Harbaugh Dobbins is out for the year. They lose some other guys, and he's getting peppered with, why are you playing starters in preseason games?
Right.
But when this happens, like, it's really the no-win, right, for a coach. It really is. Like, I do understand it's the no-win because when you come out and look like this, it's very easy to jump on here today and for fans to get on social media, fans to call into the show and say, this is what happens when you barely have any work.
Right.
And then you just go out there and try to put it together against who, when we made our predictions, you and me, you and I both chose the Arizona Cardinals to be a playoff team.
Yep.
So that means we deemed and viewed them as a good team, a team that's going to be good enough at the end to be playing January football.
And they looked like it.
But it's one game.
Yeah.
But I understand it. I do. I understand it from both sides because it's still okay to ask, well, this is what you get with virtually no work. But then on the flip side, if Vrabel chooses to go down that road today, the pushback is going to be, well, we had guys dinged up. We're not going to risk it. Or guys that were hurt, guys that were dealing with COVID. And so you can do all that with the pushing back and say, we just didn't feel like that was necessary. We're not going to get anybody hurt in preseason. Understand. But then when this happens, everybody's going,
Well, and it's not even the preseason games. It's just getting on the same page. And, as I'm showing you my phone here, you will see that I'm getting a text on my text line by somebody that, we both respect and would know that has brought up the coordinators. And that's one part we haven't gotten to yet. Todd Downing called a horrible game. I mean, it simply was. I'm sitting there watching on TV, and I get this offense is built around establishing the run and built around Derrick Henry. I get all that, but it wasn't working early. I mean, Derrick was having negative yards, and they started 3 straight possessions by trying to run the ball. And I'm like, guys, you got to adjust. It's not working right now. This isn't just a slow start. It's simply just not working. And they kept going back to that. And finally, they were starting to let Ryan throw it and not trying to depend as much on Derrick, and eventually got away from it for a while. And you started to see, some things start to work. Now, I don't think Tannehill looked all that in sync either. But I think there's certainly something to be said about the coordinators on both sides of the ball, but Todd Downing especially calling his first game as offensive coordinator of this team. And the difference between him and Arthur Smith when Arthur Smith took over is Todd Downing's done it before. It was only for a year, but he's done it before. And yesterday did not look good. The defense didn't look good. We were talking about all offseason. Can they get better on third down? Well, when you let Arizona convert 52% of the time on third down, that's not getting better. Not getting better at all. So I certainly agree with that the coordinators, share a part of it. I mean, just overall, Vrabel, the whole team just looked out of sorts. They didn't look ready to play.
Let's go to our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. By the way, if you do want to weigh in and talk to us about how you feel today, do it. 615-737-1025, like Dylan has done. Dylan, good morning. What's up?
Hey, yes, sir. I was just calling to see what you guys thought about the Julio Jones penalty. I think they were down 10-0 at the time, and it was a 3rd and 1, and I think Derrick just ran the ball or something, and Julio Jones got a penalty after the play, cost them 15 yards, put them in a 3rd and 16 position to basically end the drive. I just wanted to know what you guys thought about that.
Yeah, it was a really good run by Derrick Henry. Yes, he was stopped about a yard short, so it was going to set up a 3rd and short. And Julio Jones gets tangled up, and there's a lot of pushing and shoving, and about ripped his helmet. The other guys, I don't remember who it was, ripped his helmet off, and he gets a 15-yard penalty. And quite honestly, if that would have gone any further, it could have been like a dangerous ejection, right? I don't know if they do that early in the game in week 1 and to a star player like Julio Jones, but like I said, if it goes any further, it would have been a little bit nerve-wracking to see if, do they eject him for that? I don't think it would have gotten to that point, but yes, albeit a bad penalty and a bad start for Julio Jones. I don't know, Dylan, did you have do you have an opinion on it? Does it change how you feel about Julio Jones? Are you just simply asking? We all can come to the conclusion that it was a horrible play, right? It's a horrible start, and yes, it killed that drive, and it just kind of sent them spiraling downward the rest of the way.
Yeah, to me, it was just a big drive, and for a veteran player to kind of just lose his cool like that in a really critical drive that could have got him back out of the hole, I just feel like that was irresponsible of him to do that,
Yeah. It's hard to get anybody to disagree with that. Thank you for the phone call. I don't know how anyone could feel differently. It's just, it's horrible. How many times have we talked over the years of Taylor Lewan taking bad penalties, taking dumb penalties and hurting the team? It got to the point it was so bad he had to come out and just fall on the sword to everybody when he used to talk to the media and tell everybody, this is on me. I've got to fix this. I am killing this team. I'm paraphrasing. But it was something
Don't do dumb that hurt the team.
Yeah, that too,
Thank you, Mike.
Yes, that too.
But we're going to get to Taylor Lewan. I know we're going to spend a lot of time on it, but, I don't need to hear apologies. I don't need to hear play better, coach better. I don't need to hear we got outplayed. You did. Yeah, you're telling me something I already know. So
You're saying you don't want to hear play better, coach better today?
I don't need to hear that today.
Okay.
I want you to get up there and I want you to answer questions. Oh, if he got up there and said, guys, I got to do this because I'm required to do this, but I got to go fix this team. If he said that, I'd be like, you know what? I'm with you, Mike. Go ahead. Go fix the team because it came off very broken yesterday. As for Julio, that's inexcusable, especially I don't care what kind of star player you are. Like, you got to set an example because yesterday they had two guys that were out with injury. And so you have Chester Rogers. Chester Rogers getting more run than Julio and AJ early on.
Nice flea flicker.
That was beautiful. That was a great play. But you gotta do better, especially with a new team and your team's down. So you gotta have a better head on your shoulders in that moment. I get it, heat of the moment, one of those things. The DB that was fighting with him, did his job, got Julio to snap a little bit and ended up getting the 15-yard penalty. But that took them out of position where they were driving. They were starting to build a little momentum, a little confidence. I had no doubt that they were going to convert on that 3rd and 1, and then he took them out of it. So you can't have that. But those are the kind of mistakes that you just saw throughout the game and the poor play overall that just pretty much told this story yesterday at Nissan Stadium.
Certainly did, and if you want to jump in there on the other side, you can do that, 615-737-1025. That is our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. We will continue this discussion on the other side, but first, Chase, you've got a word about BetMGM.
I do, because it is the perfect time of year to get involved with BetMGM. You can sign up today and enjoy the thrill of victory on your very first bet. So this is what you need to do. The King of Sportsbooks welcomes you to Showtime with the lock of the year. Simply place a $10 moneyline wager on either the Ravens or the Raiders, and if either team scores a touchdown, you'll win $200 in free bets regardless of your bet's outcome. All you have to do is use the code 1025GAME200 when you make your first bet to take advantage of this offer. You can enjoy football like never before with BetMGM's live betting options, boosted odds specials, and daily promotions at your fingertips all season long. Download the app or go to BetMGM.com. Use that code 1025GAME200 to win $200 in free bets if either the Ravens or the Raiders score a touchdown. Winning is always special, but nothing beats a W at BetMGM. New customer offer, paid in free bets. You must be 21 years or older, must be in Tennessee. Visit BetMGM.com for a full list of terms and conditions. For problem gambling support, call the Tennessee Red Line at 800-889-9789.
Hang out with us every weekday starting at 6 a.m. with Robbie and Rexroad.
Limping off the field. I can confirm he was limping off the field.
Darren, Daunic, and Chase from 10 to 2.
Wouldn't say it deserves a gold star.
We want people to play along.
This is what's crazy.
And Stillman and Company from 2 to 6.
I want to go last. Can I go last?
Sure.
Watch live on Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. Tune in anytime on the Game Nashville app or your home speaker. This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of pills? Well, I have breaking news. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most proven form of wave technology available, clinically shown by Cambridge to open up and regrow blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now, and not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. You're gonna love that. And to those that call in the next 2 minutes, you'll qualify for an extra treatment free. This is an unheard of value worth hundreds of dollars. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic in the next 2 minutes to qualify for this unprecedented offer. 615-576-5000.
More machines, more savings, and more muscle. Only with John Deere construction equipment from Meade Tractor. Hit the heavy jobs harder with our Own It offer and get special financing on select models. New, used, or rent, we have the right equipment and technology solution for you with the affordable financing you need. Contact us today at our Nashville location or go online at meadtractor.com.
Offer valid on qualified purchases and new equipment made now through October 31st, 2021. Subject to approved installment credit with John Deere Financial for commercial use only. Down payment may be required. Some restrictions apply. See store for details.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Curation CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Curation CBD. Curation means healing, and that right there says it all. Curation is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Curation is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets, too. Order yours now at CurationCompany.com. Curation CBD, curated for life.
Vaccines are not enough, and accurate thermometers are essential for everyone. COVID is once again a major concern, and fever is the key symptom for both the flu and COVID. An accurate thermometer, like the Exergen temporal scanner, is essential to detect fevers early and reliably. Studies have shown that non-contact thermometers are ineffective and therefore dangerous, as they create a false sense of security. Exergen is working with a single focus to ensure that everyone who needs an accurate thermometer can purchase one. Learn more at Exergen.com.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, and Craneworks and Rental Works, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit Craneworks.com. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, I'm Gary Smith, head coach of Nashville SC. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Play clock is under 5. Murray knows it. Little slant to Hopkins. Hopkins with a spin move toward the end zone, dives, touchdown Arizona. Kevin Byard was in on the coverage, and that was a move that knocked Byard out of his shoes. It's 16-0 Cardinals on a 17-yard touchdown pass and run.
Cause you had a bad day, you take one down, sing a sad song just to
it's an appropriate song. Back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase, presented by Curation CBD. Curation CBD products curated for life. It was a bad day for the Titans at Nissan Stadium. Really good crowd. Should have been sold out. With all the hype, the way this city has changed, this market, should have been sold out. Beautiful day.
What was the announce? I never saw the
announce. They said 67. Yeah. Should have been sold out, but I digress. I hear, because I've talked to several people who went to the game, I hear that getting in was easy, but I hear security was pretty light. Yeah. My guess is they're having issues like everybody else of staffing, right? Or lack of.
Yeah.
Like I heard it was you just come on in. I mean, that's what I'm being told. Like it wasn't very tight.
I heard you had to wait once you got in.
No, and then I was going, well, so that's fine. But then I heard going to concessions was not great at all.
No, I was told by several people that you had to wait at least 45 minutes to get anything.
It was bad. And once again, it may be like staffing issues. Like if you go into restaurants and look, we're in the baseball fields this weekend, and they're already putting out memos like we're having trouble. I mean, I don't know where everybody went. Like, are people like?
I don't know.
I'm being honest. Like, what's going on? Like, why is there so many issues with people work? There's so many jobs out there that need people. What's happening?
Because to my knowledge, all the unemployment stuff has
stopped, right?
Has stopped. So
I know this is not that type of show, but I was just curious. I'm just talking out loud. I know we're talking sports here, but
aren't most of the concession gigs at Nissan on a volunteer basis too?
No, I know that is at Bridgestone. I'm not sure exactly, Elijah. It's a good question. I don't know if they do the groups like a baseball group or a football group raising money. I don't know. That's a really good question. I know that's the case at Bridgestone. I'm not sure at Nissan, but we'll look into that. I like that. Let's go to our phone lines driven by Wilson County Hyundai.com. People want to talk. Let's go out where we are in Franklin. Jeff, what's on your mind?
Guys, thank you so much. Hey, again, was there with my 5 season tickets yesterday and don't have to get into it, but I guess my question is there anybody in the media that's going to step up and challenge our coach today at 12 o'clock when he has his press conference? Because if I hear again that the players need to play better, The coaches need to coach better. I think we deserve to hear more from that. We're the ones paying these salaries. And if he does that today, I want to challenge the media. Who's going to say that's unacceptable and we need some more definition on yesterday's performance? Do you all think that's a fair question?
Well, let's flip it. Let's put a media hat on you, Jeff. Okay, so you're at the press conference, and let's just say Coach Vrabel goes down that road again. I doubt he will, because I think it's been pretty clear on this show and shows in this market and just media in general have said enough with we got to play better, we got to coach better. Like, we got it. Like, nobody wants to hear that anymore. You've done it for seasons, and let's move on from that. But let's just say, for the sake of this conversation, that does happen. You're in that. You're in the room. You get to ask the question. Okay, you get to follow up with that. What's your question to Mike Vrabel if he does that?
That I guess it would be just simply of the response that I'm giving you. There's a lot of loyal fans that are paying a lot of good money, and we just feel like we would, we deserve, and we would expect the decency to give us a little bit more of an answer there. Again, we have to coach better. I really, the tickets are probably going to be gone, and I hate to do that as a season ticket holder since day one. Appreciate y'all letting me talk today. Thank you so much.
Jeff, it's more than fair. Thank you for the phone call. More than fair. People, Jeff is not alone.
No.
That basically, there's a long line of people that don't want to hear that today, and that is a good question. Okay, now that you've said that, everybody can understand that. But now talk to the season ticket holders. Talk to the people who are paying for your product. Talk to people that are paying for the salaries. Talk to them and explain to them, well, then what needs to be coached better? Everybody knows it's got to be better. You just got boat raced at home. It was never a game. So what do you need to work on? Elaborate.
Yeah, and that's what I want. The thing is, I don't need, we have praised Mike Vrabel when he needs to be praised, and we have criticized him when he needs to be criticized. Right now he needs to be criticized. I don't need him to get up there and be all buddy-buddy with everybody and, be woe is me or anything.
I'm pretty sure he won't be buddy-buddy.
I know, but there are some coaches that are that way, and then, some are Belichick. He needs to find somewhere in between of even if he got up there and just said, hey, we got our ass kicked, and that's unacceptable. That's given me a little bit more than.
He kind of did that yesterday.
Yeah, he did.
After the game.
He did to an extent.
To a point.
But now that
he basically was like, "Do I really need to explain?"
Right.
What happened? Look. It's right there. It's an easy thing.
And that was right after. That was right after the game. But see, here's the thing: the whole point in doing a Monday press conference, you do the one right after the game, and then you do another one the Monday morning. The whole point is the head coach has then had time to watch the tape, and he has had time to analyze what either went right or what went wrong, and in this case, what went wrong. And so now, as a media member or as a fan or whatever, I'm looking for more in-depth answers. I'm looking for, okay, what did you see, coach? You're the coach. You're when it comes to football, you're smarter than I am.
Well, and you've told us that, and you do things your way, and that's fine.
And that's fine. So tell me what you see and what stood out to you and how it can be corrected. That's what I want to know. That's what the fans want to know. And for anybody, and I really don't think there's going to be too much pushback here, but for anybody that wants to say, oh, well, what do the fans know? They're one day the sky is falling, one day it's the Super Bowl and all that stuff, and that's all very fair, and I get that. But they do pay a lot of money to go to your games. It was almost sold out yesterday. I saw so many posts on Twitter from media members with pictures saying, this is the largest crowd I have seen either since or in a long time for a Titans regular season game at Nissan Stadium. That's who you owe an explanation to, is those people that took time on their Sunday and paid that kind of money, stood in line for 45 minutes to get a beer or whatever, and came to your game. You owe them an explanation, because what you put on the field yesterday was unacceptable. Your team wasn't ready to play. You can't sit there and say we were ready to play. You weren't ready to play. Because my takeaway from Arizona is they were ready to play. I can't tell you how good or how bad they really are because, I mean, I feel like,
well,
a
for
high
one
school
game,
team.
we can say they're really good.
Sure, based on
For
what
one
you
game.
saw, but, the other team was really bad. I mean, I've
been kind of saying for a good while that Kyler Murray guy is pretty good.
Yeah, Kyler Murray,
pretty good.
He's legit.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you may differ, but 4 touchdowns and 1
He's
running,
legit.
5 total touchdowns.
You know who else looked legit yesterday? Rondale Moore. He looked legit.
Pretty good. Kirk looks pretty good, too.
Kirk looked pretty good.
That's their third option.
Yeah.
That's their third guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe he's your second. I don't know. We've had all the A.J. Green talk, but.
But, I mean, it goes back to kind of the conversation, a little tongue-in-cheek, of what we had last week of that they have potentially 4 legit options at wide receiver. Now, Green was targeted 6 times, only caught 2 passes for 25 yards, which was kind of the issue last year. He was targeted a lot, but he didn't catch them all.
Yep.
But Hopkins, Kirk, Moore looked pretty good. Chase Edmonds looked pretty good out of the backfield. So I would say that, you got to feel good about Arizona and what they can do, but show me what they look like against a team that actually is ready to go.
Let's go to Adam. He's up next on our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What's up?
Hey, man. Yeah, so I'm glad we're on the same subject, man. That's exactly what I wanted to talk about because I'm looking around, and I've been there with the Titans before the pandemic when there was nobody in the stadium, like bad, even when games mattered to us. So I was really enthusiastic for the 9/11 tribute and all that. It was a beautiful moment inside that stadium. And then, yeah, man, like it's really surprising that we played that way because usually when Vrabel, like historically, has a chance to prepare for a team, they do really well. So to come out that flat, that's scary. So what I'm thinking is like, how tempting does the Colts game look 2 weeks from now for fans to come back? I'll tell you, it took me like an hour and a half to get an Uber back to my car. So I don't know that fans are going to want to go through that again. So I don't know, man. I'm kind of nervous about the fans not wanting to come back.
Well, there still is a game sandwiched in between.
Yeah.
And it's not going to get any easier.
Nope.
There's no doubt about it. Seattle carved up Indy in Indy.
They looked good yesterday.
People that were predicting Seattle to win that game were right. I thought Indy would surprise everybody. I didn't love that everybody was on Seattle, and I took Indy in pick 6.
I was on Seattle.
There's an X. That's an X. But there was one person on this show that took Arizona in pick 6.
You did.
Nope.
You did. You took those 3 point. Where we have it at 3.5. Yep. You took that. So.
But it's not. I mean, and you're going out there, which I mean, we
tough
already
place to play.
One, they've always fared horribly out west, and 2, it's a really, really tough place to play. And Seattle looks really, really good again, right?
Yep.
That's what we need to say again. Let's go to Bob. Bob is on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What's up?
Yeah, I was just going to follow up on your Titans weren't ready thing. I think it kind of stems from John Robinson keep drafting these players that aren't ready to play. They're hurt, they're injured, whatever, and then it trickled down to the vending places that the lines were incredibly long and slow and everything. The whole team, the whole organization wasn't ready, and I think there's no urgency. And I've been down on John Robinson for years, and I just saw it on the field yesterday. And you keep drafting players that aren't ready, and you expect something different. So that's all I had to say.
Okay. All right. Fair points. Thank you for the phone call. I mean, certainly this is, we know Isaiah Wilson, the story. It's well documented last year, and this year the first 2 picks are 2 guys that so far are not going to help them.
Yeah. What rookie stood out to you yesterday?
Well, first of all, the answer is no one stood out to me.
Like in a good way.
No, that's what I'm saying. Is there a right answer for anybody?
I mean, if you're going to.
Did anybody stand out in a good way?
I saw Caleb Farley on the field late in the game.
He was in there late when they finally had waved the white towel. And
Elijah Molden was the one that was playing the most.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw through preseason he looks like that he's their best hope for now.
Yeah, and he looked like a rookie yesterday. I thought at times Fulton, who's a second-year guy, he stood out. I thought Fulton was decent. But that's the point. You had Weaver that was inactive. Fitzpatrick's not on the team. Farley was non-existent. Which again, we did talk about that. Like how close is he? You knew what you were getting when you drafted him. Okay, you can either disagree with that and say you should have gone somewhere else and gotten a player that was ready, that you knew you weren't going to have to wait on. Okay, that's a fair and valid argument. But you know what he is. Radence, nothing. Zilch. So yeah, I mean, I think that was a fair phone call by Bob of, these players that Robinson has drafted not being ready to help you day one. Now, what does this look like in a month? Are you getting more production out of any of these guys a month from now after they've had 4 games under their belt in the National Football League? I don't know. I don't really have a good answer for that, but the track record is not good at this point.
Let's address the Taylor Lewan situation. We knew it was, we know it was a bad day at the office. He got worked yesterday, to say the least. The offensive line got worked badly. I don't know if there was any bright spot on the offensive line. If anybody got a passing grade, I'd love to hear it from a coach.
Yeah, I don't.
They got dominated. I don't know what else to say. They got dominated. But Taylor Lewan is the guy that's going to get the most attention because of his personality, his contract, and the position that he plays, and that's left tackle. I will say this. We've enjoyed our chats with Taylor Lewan over the years. They've kind of dwindled in time because he's got his podcast.
Yeah, he's got his own platform.
He's got his own platform, and he's just not really interested in doing this stuff, and that's fine. I mean, whatever. He used to do the show a lot, but he was, getting his personality out there, letting everybody see, that he had that, and then, he's got a successful podcast, and that's all great. I mean, that's fine. Here's my problem with that. I don't care about coming on the show to do this. This was about talking to the media. You got worked yesterday. I mean, you got abused. You're a left tackle, and you have a massive contract, and you really haven't been helping this team a ton in the last couple of years. Yes, you cannot control an injury, and an injury took your season away last year, unfortunately. The season before, you started off the first 4 games, you weren't even in this game because you were already suspended.
Yep.
Okay? And you played well when you came back, especially the second half of the season. But you haven't been available a ton. And you love to talk, and you love to make appearances, and you love to do your podcast, and you've got a social media platform, and that's great. But here is, for a guy that, don't they call him Dad?
Yep.
For a guy that wants to say, I'm a tell-it-like-it-is guy, and people call you Dad, and you went, and I don't know what went on behind the scenes. I have no clue. I don't know if the Titans asked him, and he said, I'm not doing it. I'm not talking today. Okay, that happens.
Yep.
I don't know if he said, I'm available, and the Titans said, yeah, you're not going to talk today. Like, we just need you to – let's just let it go. I don't know. I have no idea what went on behind the scenes. But this is what I do know. He didn't talk yesterday. Yep. And the only thing you heard from Taylor Lewan was on his – was it Twitter?
Yep.
His Twitter account. And if you want to read what Taylor Lewan put out after the game, this is the only statement you get from your very, very high-paid left tackle.
He said on his Twitter account at Taylor Lewan77, quote, got my ass kicked today. No way around that. I let the team and the fans down. Thank you at ChanJones55 for exposing me. It will only force me to get better.
If he does that in a press conference setting, I'll say attaboy, not on a social media, because there's no follow-ups. It's a chicken bleep way to go about it, especially for a guy like Taylor Lewan. It's a chicken bleep way to go about it.
Yep.
You did a very short, controlled message on your end, and you're not getting an attaboy from me. If the fans or other media members want to give you an attaboy, Taylor, you can do that all you want. It's a chicken bleep move for a guy that has a big personality, a guy that they call dad, a guy who's been willing to fall on the sword, a guy who's willing to tell it like it is, and then you go run to Twitter to do that little message after the game? No. That's a chicken bleep way to go about it. It just is.
No, I agree.
That's just my opinion, and you can disagree. It's a chicken bleep way to go about it, Taylor Wan. That's a chicken bleep out. A controlled little short tweet for a guy that has signed that contract and plays left tackle, and your quarterback got crushed yesterday, and one guy had 5 sacks, and that's what you've got. No follow-up. You weren't willing to stand up to the media. Guy that wasn't available last year to answer the tough questions. Dude, that's what comes with this job.
Yep.
Like, that's all fun. You can get on your little podcast and laugh and have fun and tell crazy stories, and that's cool. I enjoy your podcast. I enjoy your work. I enjoy you. Like I said, when you used to come on the show, you don't need shows like this anymore, and that's fine. It's not about that. I know people will say, "Oh, you're just bitter," and I'm not bitter at that. I don't care. Like, good for him. That's fine. You've carved out your own little niche away from the football field. But man, when you earn that kind of money, when you have that type of contract, and you play that position, and you get worked in week 1. If you come out and talk to the media and get the follow-up questions and you want to say, I got my ass kicked, kudos to Chandler Jones. Thanks for working me over in front of everybody. You're going to get an attaboy from me that away.
Because you owned it.
But you're not going to get an attaboy for a tweet. And that's the only way anybody heard from you. No, that's chicken bleep. It just is. And, boy, I wish I could say it. Because if I could, I would many times over.
Yeah.
It's a chicken bleep move.
So a couple of things on that. You know, I like Taylor just like you like Taylor. We have had a good relationship, over the years when I've seen him in the locker room or, interviewed him or what have you, or he's come on this station. Like, we have always gotten along, always, had a good relationship. But and I have been a fan of the podcast that he and Will Compton do, Bussin' with the Boys. I think it's cool for players, to have their own outlet like that. I think that's the way that, the media world's going. You're going to see more of that. But with that said, there are still obligations that you have that, you have to answer some tough questions when you have a tough day. And so I agree. I would have said, hey, you owned it. But you're right. He's hiding behind a keyboard. And you know how I feel about keyboard warriors. That's what he was. It becomes very easy to hide behind a text or a tweet or something to that effect when you don't actually have to look somebody in the eye or look at a room of people and answer those questions. And to what you said about this show, and again, this isn't bitter that he won't come on, but one issue that I do have is I think that sometimes the players, they get a little too buddy-buddy with the media and certain media members, and then that becomes their guys, and they want to go on their shows, and they want to talk to them because they know that they're not going to get the hard questions. If you want to be a leader on this team and truly have everybody believe the words that you say, then you need to go with everybody, and you need to answer the tough questions and not worry about, just going to your buddies and your friends where it's going to be easy.
That table looks like it was at the Titans game yesterday.
It does. Falling apart.
Table malfunction. Oh, we're here at
But
Legends.
You know what I mean?
It's not a great visual for radio, but, well.
I'm turning the camera around.
Yeah, turn the camera around. Look, for a guy that prides himself in telling it like it is, and a guy that prides himself in not being afraid to talk or fall on the sword or people call you dad. I mean, he's wanted to be a leader. He's had leadership stripped from him in the past, and it's meant a lot for him to get something like that back and try to work at that. And he's had to work for things because there's been question marks early on in his career, coming out of college, immature, nightlife, all that stuff that we've heard and talked about and discussed. And I feel like we're past all that stuff for the most part, right? And all the dumb penalties and all that stuff. And now this.
Yeah.
And I just would say I was really disappointed.
Yeah.
I thought Taylor Lewan. I would not have expected that from Taylor Lewan. That's what I'll say.
And let me say this: I don't fault anybody, that's doing their job and gets. We all have relationships. We all get close to certain people and organizations. It's a natural thing with what we do. So I don't fault anyone for that. But my point is, if you're going to be a leader, then you got to be able to answer the tough questions and maybe go on a show that you're not comfortable with or talk to somebody that you're not necessarily close with or comfortable with and don't avoid the tough questions. And that was a situation yesterday. And again, I don't know, just like you don't know, if they said, hey, you're not going to speak or he said whatever.
I don't know what happened.
I don't know either. But my point is tweeting about it just doesn't get it covered.
No. Let's go to Chris on our phone line, driven by Wilson County. Hyundai.com. What's up?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
What an embarrassing start to the season yesterday, but I agree wholeheartedly what you guys are saying about Taylor, getting on Twitter afterwards. Just keep your mouth shut, Taylor. We don't want to hear that stuff. But watching the game, and Taylor and Bud Dupree, I think both of them don't trust their knee yet. You could look at Taylor, and he was okay straight up with the guy, but whenever he tried to make his move around Taylor could not turn quick enough. And the same with Bud Dupree. He'd shoot into the backfield and take a line, and sure, it was Kyler Murray. He's hard to catch, but Bud couldn't make the adjustment. He would just take a straight line, and that was it. He'd over-pursue the play or whatever. And I just think both guys have not gotten over the mental part with the knee yet. A lot of guys say it takes 2 years to get back to 100% after an ACL. So Taylor Lewan's play, I think, set the tone for the whole team. The offensive line was the worst-looking thing about the whole team, and it was just set the tone for the game.
Yeah, look, there's nothing to disagree with on that, Chris. Thank you for your comments. We'll discuss some of what he said on the other side, see if we agree or disagree to close out hour number 1. That's next.
The Titans get embarrassed on home field in their season opener.
Back of the end zone, caught Hopkins. Did he get in bounds? He did! Touchdown Cardinals!
As they let Kyler Murray do whatever he wanted to do.
Murray will keep it himself, and he's into the end zone untouched.
We're reacting all day to this blunder on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey everybody, Joe Rexrode here, looking at week 2 of the NFL season. Looks like another good one, and the biggest one is Chiefs-Ravens. FanDuel Sportsbook, about to make it even bigger because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can end next weekend right by winning $150 on a $5 bet. Look, I was big on the Chiefs versus the Browns. Didn't cover, but I got to feel good about them here. You make your own decision. Do it on the #1 rated sportsbook app in America, FanDuel Sportsbook. It's easy to use. It's safe and secure. The payouts are fast. It's betting made simple, and you're always getting hooked up with great offers. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Sign up with promo code Joe102 this Sunday before the Chiefs take on the Ravens. You can win $150 on a $5 bet. Remember, use promo code Joe102 so they know I sent you exclusively on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center,
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobis. Upper 80s and low 90s for your Monday. So warmer temperatures, but low on the humidity. No chance for rain, and mainly sunny throughout the day. Overnight temperatures go into the 60s, and we'll be back up near 90 degrees once again for your Tuesday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Creating the finest award-winning tequila means starting with the best ingredients. Camarena Tequila is 250 years in the making from Arandas, Jalisco, Mexico. You see, at Camarena, they wait for their 100% blue Weber agave to reach maturity before harvesting each and every plant by hand. This allows them to consistently produce one of the smoothest and best-tasting tequilas in the world. Experience Camarena Tequila today, available at a fine liquor store near you. Camarena Tequila is the official tequila for the Nashville Soccer Club.
Lately, we've been getting a lot of calls and questions about acoustic wave therapy for the treatment of erectile dysfunction. This is a relatively new treatment for ED, but one we've been using for years. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, it's worth a visit to check us out. Our wave therapy protocols use acoustic wave technology, but often also combine it with other treatments that can give most of our patients far higher satisfaction rates. There is no surgery nor any type of invasive procedures required, and while most clinics you hear about only offer sound wave treatments, with our urologist and provider's guidance, you can likely have sex the day after your appointment and experience fewer letdowns. With another one of our ED treatments, you can last up to an hour and a half, and our expertise in treating these issues means you'll get the results you want. So make your appointment today. We'll show you why our acoustic wave program is the better way to do wave therapy. Call us today at 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra. Results vary.
Microban 24 protects against Staphylococcus aureus and Enterobacter aerogenes bacteria, but does not provide 24-hour protection against viruses. Every time you touch a surface, you leave behind bacteria. Use Microban 24 sanitizing spray to keep surfaces sanitized all day. Spray on hard surfaces to kill 99.9% of bacteria and viruses initially, including the virus that causes COVID-19. Microban 24 keeps killing bacteria for 24 hours, touch after touch. When used as directed, Microban 24, touch after touch, it doesn't give up.
Robbie Stanley.
Coming in off the water. Yeah. Coming in there to tailgate.
Joe Rexrode.
That was fun. That was fun.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. If you've missed any of today's show, just search Darren, Daunic, and Chase on Apple, Spotify, or on your favorite podcast platform.
Your favorite silly underdogs, or your favorite game silly underdogs pick is back. We've had 2 installments. Had a lot of fun. We want you to play along with us. Our numbers keep rising. You're playing along. Don't forget there are weekly prizes, so you don't have to play every single week, and it's okay if you haven't played to this point. You can jump in at any point. So get your friends and your family and your coworkers. Play as a group. You can sign up and play today. Pick 3 underdog teams, and if any of them hit, any of them win the game outright, you get those points. That's how it works. It's not against the spread. It's you need your underdog teams to win the game outright, which I guess
I hate this game.
Which did happen again. Oh, for somebody again.
Yeah, I hate this game.
In fact, I was up late watching Vanderbilt beat Colorado State, and then this Holy War game.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching that.
Yeah.
So turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
So you can play along with us. Weekly prizes like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert here in town. Go to theGameNashville.com or ESPN The Game Nashville mobile app to sign up and play now. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. Go Cougars. BYU. Where's Brent? BYU. Go BYU.
Yeah, he's right there.
Yeah. Do they have a Y and a U? I don't know how to do it. I'm not going to do a B.
Well, all I know is both of my picks were close, but close doesn't count. I actually think they both – well, I know the Cowboys covered, but I actually think NIU covered too. But it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Such is life. But I'm not bitter.
Here comes Nash.
Oh, with his drum?
Yep.
He's ready.
He is ready. We're going to talk to Teron Davenport to start the second hour. What else stood out to you? We've hit on some, but not on everything. You want to? By the way, let's real quick address the knee. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that.
I'll tell you another thing.
This just in: Chandler Jones is really, really good. He's really good. Go back and look at what he's done at this point to his career. He's got to the quarterback a lot. What is that now? 100 times, or over 100 times? It's kind of good. So I don't know.
102.
Yeah, because he had 97, I think, coming into the game.
Yeah, 102.
102 sacks in his career. That's Hall of Fame worthy. So he's really, really good. So I don't know. I don't know if the knee played a part in it or not. I'm not a doctor. I'm not around him. I just know that Chandler Jones is really good, and he's made a career out of getting to the quarterback, and he wants to get paid big bucks. And he's highly motivated because Arizona didn't give him the big contract. So he's a guy that's probably going to play this season, if healthy and upright, with his hair on fire.
Yeah, well, he did that yesterday. The other thing, too, and I noticed it, and then I had somebody else point it out, too, so I don't know if you saw this, but Taylor Lewan he looks slimmer. Looks like he's lost some weight. So I don't know what kind of an adjustment that is, if that is in fact the case. I'm telling you on the eye test, he looks slimmer, and with a guy that plays his position, that could be just a result of losing weight while he was out with the injury. But how much of a factor does that make? So bottom line is he wasn't good enough yesterday, and he was a turnstile. That's what he was.
He was. All right, the other one we've talked a lot about the last couple of years. You know where I'm going probably. The kicking game. Or lack of. Missed extra point. Missed field goal. Badgley. By the way, I've heard people say Badgley and Bagley. Do we know which one it is?
I think it's Badgley.
I think it's Badgley too.
That's what I've always heard.
I don't think we're really going to have to figure it out because I'm not sure how much longer he's going to be here.
No, yeah, I would
at all.
I would imagine that paperwork's already going through, if I had to guess.
Huh?
I said I would imagine that paperwork's already going through for him to get released, if I had to guess.
Well, I mean, I'm asking you, what do you think? I mean, do you think that? I mean, they've got a kicker that Mike Vrabel is familiar with on the practice squad now, and Bullock, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, we've talked about it. Gostkowski got it because he had the skins on the wall. I don't believe Badgley has the skins on the wall. So does he get?
No, he's missed a ton. I mean, you go look at his.
Right. I mean, last year he was awful.
I know. I was like, "What? That's the best you could do?" Like, is Gostkowski telling him no? Like, have they called? Has Vrabel been like, "Hey, Steve, what's up?" And he's just like, "No, I'm retired. I'm done. I'm not doing this." Because that's what it feels like. And so for people that were wondering, because I still see texts and people on Twitter that are going, what happened to Ficken? He got hurt. He got hurt in practice on Friday. And so they put him on IR, and they put Badgley on the active roster, and that's why Badgley was kicking yesterday. Now Randy Bullock is on the practice squad, and I would assume there's going to be a kicking battle, and they're going to be trying out kickers. Because as I said going in to the season, if Sam Ficken had the same stat line as Gostkowski did last year in the opener against Denver, that he was going to get cut. Well, Badgley basically had a similar stat line. I think he's going to get cut. He doesn't have the skins on the wall like a Stephen Gostkowski.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, we'll come back. We'll talk with TD to begin the second hour of Darren, Daunic, and Chase. That's next.
From all-day talk.
You can roll with that team. That's good enough to win a lot of football games.
To the biggest games.
The Los Angeles Dodgers have won the World Series for the first time since 1988.
Nashville's best sports talk is always at your fingertips. Just search the game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. Hey, Sounds fans, Jeff Hem here with your Nashville Sounds update on ESPN Nashville. Only 16 games remain this year for the Sounds. They wrapped up a home series last night against Memphis and suffered a 6-3 loss. They won the series but dropped the finale. Infielder David Fry picked up his first RBI in the last week coming up from Double-A. And the pitch, and Fry hits one in the air, left center field. That's down in the alley for a base hit. And it'll bring in Kelly. Fry heads to second, in standing up with a double. And it's 6-3. David Fry picks up his first run batted in as a Sound. An RBI double to left center, and it's a 3-run difference. Fry's double got the Sounds within 3, but that 6-3 score became the final, and the Redbirds got the finale. The Sounds are 60-54 as they take the field in Gwinnett tomorrow night against the Stripers. First pitch on ESPN 94.9 at 6:05. This is Jeff M. with your Nashville Sounds update on ESPN Nashville.
Kitchen Notes in the Omni Nashville Hotel is one of Nashville's favorite places to dine, serving up their award-winning menu items again. Kitchen Notes is renowned for their Southern-inspired dishes with a contemporary twist. Their breakfast features the popular Music City omelets, sourdough pancakes, cast iron waffles. Plus, everyone knows that their Sunday brunches are the talk of the town. Lunch menu items include smoked prime rib, chicken hash, and the Kitchen Notes legendary shrimp and grits. Kitchen Notes is open Thursday through Sunday at 7 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Hey, it's Jared Stillman. Guys, are you tired of feeling old? You know that feeling. You don't have any energy. You're gaining pounds. Well, guess what? My friends at Invigorate Health are the ones to help you. They don't just focus on one area of the aging body. They take care of all of it with so many different therapies that can restore your vitality and are designed with you specifically in mind. So give them a try. Invigorate Health, if you want to feel young again. Out in Mount Juliet at 615-288-4777 or invigoratehealthtn.com.
Listen up, sports bettors. This is Hall of Famer Warren Sapp here to tell you about my favorite sports book, BetUS.com. I only endorse one sports book, and that's BetUS.com. Just like me, BetUS is the Hall of Famer of online betting with more than 25 years in the biz. Call today, and they will get you set up faster than I can run the 40. I play at BetUS, and so should you. BetUS.com.
Use code GAME for a sign-up bonus.
Tell them Sapp sent you.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks is ready to help lift Nashville. As the Southeast's most trusted name in crane and equipment rental for over 30 years, Craneworks offers certified operators to make sure the job is done right. Rentalworks has a diverse fleet of equipment to assist in any project, big or small. From forklifts to carry deck cranes, they have it all. When it's time for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project, call Craneworks. Visit craneworks.com.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's time for Darren, Daunic, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Hour number 2, Darren, Daunic, and Chase. We're live out here, Vanderbilt Legends Club, for a great cause. Brent Peterson doing great work, raising money to help the fight for Parkinson's disease. And this is a huge hit, this golf scramble. A morning session and an afternoon session. Sold out. And we're happy to be out here. Darren McFarland and Chase McCabe alongside Willie D is out on the course. He will be here for the second half of the show, and then I'll take my sticks and hit them probably right and say 4 a couple times in the afternoon session. Let's bring in our man, Teron Davenport, NFL Nation reporter covering the Titans for ESPN and ESPN.com. Talking with TD is his podcast, and TD is presented by FreedomTireGuys.com and Craneworks and RentalWorks. FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company. Online at FreedomTireGuys.com. Craneworks and RentalWorks, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit Craneworks.com. Well, Teron, don't think
Hey, buddy.
this is the spot everybody thought, or what will we be talking about? Did I think they could lose? Yeah, I did. I think Arizona's a really good team. Did I think it was going to be in the fashion that it played out? No, there's no way I could have been convinced, say that 3 times really fast, that they were just never going to be in the game, and that was the case.
Yeah, that's absolutely the case, man. They were just out-physicaled, and they were out-tightened, to be honest with you, because they build themselves on having that repertoire of physical football, physicality, being violent, and that's exactly what happened to them. So it was an unfortunate game, and it just from that second series, things just snowballed, and it never got on track.
Well, where do you want to start with this, Teron? There's a lot of layers. This is like a blooming onion. Maybe this segment should be sponsored by Outback because there's a lot of layers to peel back. Let's start with the offensive line. Boy, you always hear coaches, and you understand, you played the game. Sometimes games are dictated by the wars in the trenches, and clearly the Titans did not win the war in the trenches.
Yeah, they're pretty much always dictated by that, and it just, right from the start, if you go back and watch the game, that first snap, right, you'll see Chandler Jones just violently move Taylor Lewan out of the way and tackle Derrick Henry for a 3-yard loss. And it just, right from the jump, it was established that 0 games were going to be played up front. And then the next series, what happens? J.J. Watt, swim move on Quesenberry, runs literally through Jeff Swaim, and he tackles Henry for a loss of a yard. Next play, unblocked Chandler Jones, blows up Ryan Tannehill, and naturally Tannehill gave the ball up. I mean, I don't know too many folks that would be able to withstand that type of hit and not give it up, and look what happened. So, yeah, it was just all throughout the game. They just couldn't get anything going. They were consistently in the Titans' backfield and just resetting the line of scrimmage in their backfield, and that's something that you're not going to win that way, and the offense was just able to feed off of that, to be honest with you, and we could get into the defensive issues in a moment, but it just really, it was a poor showing, and this is something, going against that front, we asked Coach Vrabel about that and some of the other guys about that, just, seeing Marcus Gold and seeing J.J. Watt and Chandler Jones, that's nothing to be played with.
No, it's not, and I guess let's go there with the defense. Third down woes again. Just the inability to get off the field, unfortunately, has rolled over to the start of this season and plagued them again on Sunday.
Yeah, it really did, honestly. I mean, you look at it, they ended up, I think it was around 53% conversions allowed on third downs, which obviously is not acceptable, and it's right in line with where they were last year, which was a 30-year high at 51%, and that's not a high for the Titans/Oilers organization. It's for the league, period. So that was clearly an issue and something that they have to get fixed.
And the Titans weren't able to get to the quarterback. They did get 2 sacks, but overall, just not enough pressure. And I know Kyler Murray is extremely difficult. I would say, in my opinion, Kyler Murray and Lamar Jackson are probably the 2 best with their legs, although there's a lot of mobile quarterbacks now in the NFL. Those 2 may be the toughest to get to. But with that being said, I don't know if you think that's a good start or if it's not. I just kind of felt like, again, just not enough pressure to the quarterback. What do you think?
Yeah, well, you mentioned Lamar Jackson. He is definitely somebody, but don't forget about the guy who was doing it before both of them, and that's Russell Wilson, who they're going to face next week, so it doesn't get any easier. But, yeah, you're right. Kyler Murray and what he was able to do, that only made things even tougher. And when you look at that 1 third down, I believe it was like 3rd and 10, and there was an opportunity to make something happen, right, and get a stop. They couldn't get it because Kyler Murray eluded all of Nashville and found a way to get the ball down the field to Rondale Moore for an 18-yard gain. So that's an example of just how he could go off schedule and how he could just make things happen. And this is something that they practice, right? You don't realize like the things that go into getting those type of plays to happen the way they do. It's not literally just guys running around. Everyone has assignments and things like that. This is something that Arizona worked on during training camp, and it showed.
It's easy, and this is what happens. I think it's kind of a no-win for a coach because if you're like John Harbaugh with the Ravens, you did play some starters and they got hurt in preseason games, and then you get crucified for it, and then he has to answer those questions. Vice versa, on the other side, if you choose not to really get any work from your starters in preseason, then you come out and lay an egg in week one, then you get questioned on why there wasn't any work in preseason. Like I said, I know it's a no-win for a coach, but do you think there is any validity to, basically none of the starters playing in preseason for the most part?
Yeah, I think there's some validity to it, but you also have to look at the offensive line. A lot of those guys did actually play, and it just ended up that was one of the key parts where they had a letdown yesterday. So there's give and take with it. I believe that when you're a team like the Titans, me personally, I would have played more of the starters just because they notoriously start off slow. And the best way to avoid that, in my opinion, would be to not have rust to knock off. So unfortunately, because of different things, whether it's being having guys on the reserve COVID, veteran days off, in addition to just Taylor Lewan working his way back from injury, they weren't able to get everybody out there, and it showed along the offensive line. Obviously, the Julio Jones and Ryan Tannehill situation was impacted, but I think that was more not having the offensive line in sync than anything else.
We knew that one of the big question marks was going to be, okay, what does it look like, post Arthur Smith? Arthur Smith is now in Atlanta as their head coach, and yeah, they certainly had their offensive struggles yesterday as well. But, there was a lot of pressure on Todd Downing to keep this offense rolling along. We know that, 13 points, especially in today's game and with the Titans defense, is just not going to be good enough to win games week in and week out. Overall, what do you make of the lack of production on offense?
Well, again, it goes back to the offensive line, but also I think the play calling, right, it got a little predictable running Derrick Henry on first downs, and this is something that we actually saw under Coach Arthur Smith as well. But I think you also have to look at, okay, what happened to just like a timely screen pass? When you got your guys just getting mauled up front, help them out, right? Call a screen pass, attack the boundary a little bit more, spread it out some. There were times where they had 13 personnel, 12 personnel. You're condensing everything. Your guys are getting beat up front even when you're trying to run the football, right? So spread it out, attack the perimeter. Give your guys like Julio Jones, A.J. Brown, opportunities to catch the ball quickly and make something happen. That's what you have playmakers like that for. So that's something that I think they probably could have done. Now, look, man, I'm no offensive coordinator or anything like that. I'm just kind of saying what I saw and what I wondered why they weren't doing. But in my opinion, when you're getting dominated like that up front, you got to help them out, and those are some ways that you could do it.
Teron Davenport is with us, Titans NFL Nation reporter for ESPN. And going back to the, I guess, being out of sync and chemistry thing, and you're there every day. To me, it's more practice than it would be preseason games. How much, are these guys on the practice field together when you can really break stuff down and talk stuff out? I mean, is that something that you think that they could have done a little bit more of with some of these guys throughout training camp?
Honestly, they were there on the practice field. At least the offensive line was. They were there on the practice field working things out a lot, honestly, because, Taylor Lewan, even though he wasn't going through like full contact and those type of things in camp, they still went through walkthroughs, and they did stopping on contact for him. So there was an opportunity to do that. And it's just kind of interesting, the two dynamics that we have working with this team, because the defensive players, they played a lot, right?
Yeah.
Outside of, they played outside of Daunic Autry. They played a lot. But 38 points allowed, that definitely wasn't a good showing. So, you could look at it both ways. But I think end of the day, man, bottom line, and it sounds cliche, but as a professional, you have to go out there and do better, and that's going to be their goal going forward. You can't really use that excuse of not playing together in the preseason as a reason why you had such a bad performance.
So were you surprised? You know how vocal that Taylor Lewan is, and he's always accessible. Were you surprised that he didn't talk at all yesterday?
As far as after the game?
Yeah.
I wasn't surprised just because with this whole situation, the way everything is being rehandled, you just don't know who's going to be available. So I wasn't surprised at all. He did say something on Twitter about, what Chandler Jones was able to do. But, again, end of the day, you just got to play better. I think that's really what it boils down to. He could get on here and say everything possible, but, at the end of the day, that performance was subpar, and I get it. He's working his way back from injury, so you have to consider that. But he is looked upon as one of the best offensive linemen on the team, so you do have to live up to that.
When you factor in everything we've already talked about, offensive line issues and new coordinator and all that stuff, how would you evaluate Ryan Tannehill overall yesterday as he was right there with everybody else and having a bad day?
I don't think you can evaluate him, honestly. He got hit, I think it was 9 times. He got sacked 6 times. He was constantly under pressure. And it's really tough to get a true evaluation of him. He tried to get the ball into their hands, when he had opportunities to throw the football. He had a couple nice throws to A.J. Brown, a good one to Julio Jones. He connected with Ferkser. He ran one in for a touchdown. So, I think this loss, it's on the whole team, but I couldn't put the bulk of it on Ryan Tannehill or even get a true look at what he brings to the table this year because he was under constant duress.
Darren and I were talking about rookies earlier, and we know Caleb Farley's situation, and that's going to be a work in progress, but Weaver was inactive. Radence, is not there yet, obviously. Elijah Molden was really the one that you saw the most of yesterday. Yeah. And, again, I asked this, how would you evaluate when you look at the entire team? But for his first real NFL game, how would you look at him?
Not good. That's really the only way you can look at it, and that's just being objective. And you guys know I'm really big on Elijah Molden, but I'm going to call a spade a spade. Right, he got beat in coverage by Christian Kirk. He came up and tried to make a tackle in the backfield and had a guy run through it. So those are opportunities that you have to come through with, and this is something that he kind of trademarked, right, at Washington and in the preseason this year. So definitely not an acceptable performance from Elijah Molden. The good thing is he has an opportunity to get better.
Teron, can you kick?
You know what? I got to go to the store and get some steel-toe boots, and I'll kick.
Okay, because they may ask you to. They may ask you to when you get over there here in a little bit after yesterday. I know it was kind of a weird circumstance. Ficken gets hurt. He's now on IR. They put Badgley in there to kick yesterday. Doesn't look good at all. So here we go again talking about kickers and the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, it's just more of the same old nonsense that this team has gone through over the last couple of years. And it's unfortunate, but, they're going to have to keep sorting through the muck and try to find somebody.
You're going to be at the press conference and talking to Mike Vrabel here in about 40 minutes or so. And we've heard got to coach better, got to play better. But this feels different. This after yesterday, it feels like that's not going to fly. But we know his personality. What do you truly expect now that he's had time to watch the film, maybe break some stuff down, see some, really key in on some things? What do you really expect him to say?
Yeah, I expect them to be frustrated, and I want to just talk about what went on in the trenches and just how they could avoid that from happening again. Because when you're losing one-on-one matchups the way that they were, and also struggling with stunts and twists the way that they were, it's not going to get any easier next week. When you got Jamal Adams playing like an outside linebacker, and them using him in so many ways. So Seattle's going to present just as big of a struggle. Obviously, Chandler Jones is one of the best, but I think he needs to speak about some of these one-on-one matchups that they lost, and that's what I'm going to ask him about.
All right, well, we will be looking forward to listening to it. TD, thanks as always. We'll do it again next Monday, but you got Talking with TD, breaking this one down on Wednesdays, the Power Hour, on Thursdays at 3 with the afternoon show, and then Fridays at 8. We'll talk to you next Monday.
That's right. Talk to you guys next Monday. Appreciate it.
He is Teron Davenport, and he joins us every Monday at 11, brought to you by Freedom Tire Guys and Crane Works, as well as, again, Mike Vrabel coming up at noon. You will hear that right here on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Vince Ferrara going to join us tomorrow at noon as we break down the Titans. We welcome your calls and texts, 615-737-1025. But as we go to the break, Darren, you're going to tell us about DraftKings.
I am, Chase. Thank you. Week 1 may be over, but the season's just getting started at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. And to kick off Week 2, DraftKings is giving all new customers a can't-miss offer. All you have to do is just bet $1 on any football game this week and receive $200 in free bets instantly, no matter what. That's right, DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new customers $200 in free bets instantly when they bet at least $1 on any football game. DraftKings is safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use that promo code 1025GAME to receive $200 in free bets when you place a $1 bet on any football game. That promo code again, 1025GAME, to get your $200 in free bets instantly this week at DraftKings Sportsbook. An official sports betting partner of the NFL. You must be 21 years of age or older. Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Hang out with us every weekday starting at 6 a.m. with Robbie and Rexroad.
I really am. You gotta be. I mean, I just totally am. You've gotta be.
Darren, Daunic, and Chase from 10 to 2.
Good participation.
We have a system now, thank goodness.
I had a funny moment happen.
And Stillman and Company from 2 to 6.
I have a story.
Get a cupcake.
Watch live on Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. Tune in anytime on the Game Nashville app or your home speaker. This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Cast iron. Lift that cast iron. You're doing good.
Hey, hon. Sweetie.
Yeah, hon.
I need to make dinner. I need that pan.
You can't always do home workouts how you'd want, but now you can sip what you want. Heineken 0.0. It tastes great, only has 69 calories, and absolutely zero alcohol.
Well, here, lift these. 2 Heineken 0.0s.
Oh, right. Dumbbells I can drink. Sip. 0.
Must be 21 plus to purchase. Enjoy responsibly.
Whether you're driving for distance, pitching for precision, or putting to win it all, come to Edwin Watts Golf Shop to get custom fit for all your clubs throughout your bag. Hit a few balls and let our team show you the latest swing technology and data that will help optimize your game. Having each club tailored to become your gamers will help you start shooting lower scores. Let Edwin Watts Golf Shops help you make every shot the perfect one. Come in and get custom fit today. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, Craneworks. The Craneworks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give Craneworks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth moving equipment. Call Craneworks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey is the official whiskey of the NFL pregame broadcast on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Screwball is the original and most awarded peanut butter whiskey in the world. Made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, Screwball is all natural flavor to be enjoyed as a straight shot, in an espresso martini, peanut butter old fashioned, or a PB&J shot with a berry liqueur. Check out screwballwhiskey.com/recipes for more. Be sure and ask for Screwball by name at your favorite watering hole in Nashville.
Enjoy responsibly. 2021 Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Hey Nashville, Vanderbilt football coach Clark Lee here, inviting you to tune in on ESPN 94.9 every Monday at 6 p.m. for the Commodore Hour, providing you with exclusive insights on Vanderbilt athletics.
What's happening in Nashville? This is Scott Van Pelt. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Like, how disappointing is this just overall? And even
Joe, you know what I mean? It is. It's disappointing when you lose. It's disappointing when you lose at home. You know, it's a long season. It's a long season. You know, you play like that, there should be no shock. You know, we shouldn't have to look too long and hard while you lost the game. There's a lot of reasons it's out there, and I'm confident that we'll bounce back and we'll be ready to compete. You know, this week, and I'm confident that I am. You know, but it's unfortunate. It is disappointing. There is no other way to put it. It sucks when you lose. It sucks when you get your ass kicked. All the credit to Cliff and his staff and those players. You know, they beat us and outcoached us.
Back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase, presented by Curation CBD. Curation CBD products curated for life. This is what I know coming up in about 20 minutes or so. You have a chance to win a pair of tickets to see Alice Cooper with Ace Frehley at Ascend Amphitheater. That'll be on Sunday, October 3rd. So that'll be a good little show. All you have to do is jump in there and be a part of the show. And
did you say Frehley?
Ace Frehley, yes.
But 2 weeks ago it was Frehley. Now you've gone to Frehley.
It is Frehley. Ace Frehley, yeah.
But see, this was because Joe Rexroad's in your head. That's what it is.
I know. See, I'm getting somebody that I've called Frehley my entire adult life. Now, yeah, I'm questioning, and it's all Joe's fault.
He's in your head. Interesting.
Yeah. I just said Frehley, didn't
you?
I?
You did.
You're right. Now that I played it back, you're right. I did. I don't know why.
Played it back in your head?
I did. Frehley. It's Frehley. I feel good about that.
I mean, he's always.
I don't
been
know why
Ace
I
Frehley
stumbled.
to me.
I don't know why I stumbled with Frehley. It's Joe's fault. It just really is. But that's a good show. But we'll have that. We'll do that in about 20 minutes or so. Mike Vrabel's press conference coming up at noon. What will be the reaction from the head coach? So, kicking wise, it's not. Look, if the game was closer, you know it would be a much bigger deal. It should still be a big deal, but it's hard to get worked up over the kicking game when you realize that they didn't change anything with that 38-13 route. Okay, so give him the extra point that he missed. So it's 38-14. Okay, then he makes the 46-yarder. Okay, so it's 38-17. Just wasn't a game. But it is a concern. This guy missed a lot of goals last year with the Chargers. A lot. So what are they going to do? I know Ficken is hurt. Is this just going to be, and we've talked about this so much, is this just going to be a weekly kicking try? Are they just going to have camps every week for kickers?
That's why I asked Ron, can you kick? Because, I mean, that's kind of what they're looking for at this point. I mean, in his career, Michael Badgley is 52 of 66, which is 78.8%.
It's not great.
He was 80% career-wise with the Chargers, which is not good, obviously. Extra points, he's 94.3% career, 83 of 88. Missed one yesterday. And, I mean, the misses were bad. I mean, it was just like I couldn't get that kind of elevation. But, I mean, it would be like me trying to do something. Like it was bad.
Was it that?
Yeah, I know. Poor example. But somebody that, you know, has some athletic ability that isn't good. Let's just put it that way. But I don't know. I mean, I would assume that they're going to go through, you know, Randy Bullock's probably going to get a look. And I would think he's on the practice squad. You're carrying the second kicker, which, you know, most teams did last year. So Randy Bullock on his career, and again, you mentioned it earlier, goes back to the Vrabel days in Houston, so they do know each other. He is 168 of 202, 83.2%. 215 of 225 on extra points, 95.6 in his career.
And he's been doing it for a lot longer.
Since 2012. Yeah. Yep. I was with the Bengals last year for 12 games. So I would assume that he's probably going to get a look, and my guess is he's kicking on Sunday in Seattle.
You think?
That's what I think.
Does that get addressed today, you think?
I'm sure he's going to get asked about it. I don't know how much Vrabel's going to, really answer it. I don't think he's going to get up there and go, "Oh yeah, no, we've already told Mike to not come here."
Okay, so how would you answer this right now? On Wednesday, when they hit the practice field, is it going to be surprise, surprise, new kicker?
Yeah, I think Randy Bullock's probably the kicker.
On Wednesday's practice.
Yeah.
Wednesday's
Because
practice.
Tomorrow's the off day, a lot of tomorrow's workout day. So I wouldn't be shocked if they bring somebody else in to work out, unless they're just going to put Badgley back on the practice squad. But my guess is Bullock is the kicker. They don't have time to play this game. 83.2% isn't great necessarily. He was 84.9 with Cincinnati for 5 years. That's kind of where he is. 80% with Houston. So, he's not.
I think it's pretty safe to say he's the much more proven kicker.
He's better than Badgley.
He's better than Badgley, right?
Yeah. So I think that's what they do. And people, I can't figure. Somebody just texted. I can't understand why they got rid of Suckup. That's one that I have asked a lot of people about, and they can't give me a straight answer either. I don't think the contract. I guess
I think they probably like a do-over. I don't think there's any doubt about that.
Yep.
No way of getting around that, right?
No, but you have to have an effective kicker. You just have to in this league. Cincinnati yesterday. What did Cincinnati do? They won in overtime. How'd they do it?
Game-winning field goal.
Kicker. No doubt. Did it. Put it through. So you got to have that guy. And this organization historically has had that guy. Whether it's Del Greco or Joe Nedney, obviously Rob Baronis and the run he had, Ryan Suckup. They have been able to find those guys where you don't worry about it. There were two guys forever. Craig Hentrick before, and then Brett Kern. You don't worry about Brett Kern, and then you didn't worry about the kicker. You just, hey, let's focus on everything else because they got that. They do their thing. But now it's like this is 3 straight years of having to worry about that position, a position that you shouldn't have to worry about.
All right, let's talk about something else that I brought up many times in the offseason because I said it's a concern because I need to see it play out. And there was going to be a lot of pressure on Todd Downing because I remember when we had Jason Fitz on, and he's a Raiders fan. Jason Fitz, who started off on this station now, has been doing great work at ESPN, on a national platform. He's a huge Raiders fan, and I flat out asked him about Todd Downing, and it was less than flattering, to say the least. And I get it. Raiders fans, if you ask them about Downing, it's not going to be flattering. But that was what, 5 years ago? How long ago was that?
It was 2016.
So some time has elapsed. It was 5 years ago. And it was 1 year. But I said Arthur Smith, I believe, was really, really good as an offensive coordinator. I don't know how he's going to do as a head coach. It doesn't always translate. Do I think he could pull it off? Yeah. It hasn't gotten off to a good start. They got housed by Philadelphia. So I don't know what he's going to be like as a head coach. I know as an OC, it looked really good. I think he's a hard worker. I think he's a smart guy. I think the players really like him. And so there's a lot of things to like about Arthur Smith as an OC. And in other words, those are big shoes to fill. And they had a lot of success on offense. And guess what? It's basically the same offense. Yeah, there's no Jonnu Smith or Corey Davis, who, by the way, Corey Davis had a good first week in New York.
Mm-hmm.
But, they added some guy named Julio Jones, Josh Reynolds.
Those are –
yeah. So that 22 guys still in the backfield, right? Quarterback still in place. So even if there was a little bit of a drop-off, drop-off should not look like that. It's 1 week, albeit. But how much cause for concern is there that this is going to continue to be a huge problem for them moving forward?
Well, let me answer it like this. All right, Titans get the ball to start the game. First play, Derrick Henry, left tackle to the Tennessee 22, -3 yards, Chandler Jones. They end up punting on that drive, 3 and out. All right, next possession. Turns out to be a 2 and out because they fumble. But again, the first play from scrimmage, Derrick Henry, up the middle, -1. Now, after 2 possessions where I'm clearly seeing that the run game isn't working, if I'm the offensive coordinator, I'm calling Ryan Tannehill over and going, all right, we gotta change. Not gonna abandon the run, but we're going to throw on first down. Next possession, Derrick Henry, left end to Tennessee 27, 2 yards. Next play, actually get a first down with 7 yards, still running the ball. But then there's a penalty. That's the Julio Jones unnecessary, or you almost get a first down. That's the Julio Jones unnecessary roughness. Then you got to go to the pass. You end up punting because of that penalty. Finally, on the next possession, at the 5:19 mark of the first quarter, let's throw it on first down, but Tannehill gets sacked. But it takes that long to get to that point. And I think then, Arizona was rushing and knew, okay, well, they have to throw it at this point. They're already down big time in the game. I just didn't like that game plan, right away. And now I don't know. I would assume that Tannehill, has carte blanche to kind of do what he wants at the line. I don't know if the original play call was a pass and he's changing it because he's seen something. I'm obviously not at the line of scrimmage with him. But all I know is the play calling was not very good, really throughout the whole game, but especially to start the game when it was clear that the run was not working. And it was like he was determined that, okay, got to establish the run because that's what we do. So we have to establish the run. You also have to adapt with whatever the defense is throwing at you. And the defense was throwing this guy with number 55 on named Chandler Jones, and he was all over you. I wasn't impressed.
So the first 4 series resulted in, negative 16 yards? Is that right?
Let's see. Here you go. First net yards, first possession, 0, then -15, then -6, and then 5. So that would be -16.
Negative 16 yards. First 4 possessions.
Yep. Punt, fumble, punt, punt. And then finally, they had the 75 yards and scored the touchdown. Then the next one, 47 yards, missed the field goal. Then 32 yards after the turnover, the interception, scored the touchdown. And then everything fell off again.
And Arizona is not a team we would have identified. Well, I've sat here and said Chandler Jones is a terrific player. If he keeps this up, he's well on his way to Canton. J.J. Watt is a terrific player, but everybody was wondering, where's he at in his career? Well, on his way to Canton
he will
as
go
well.
to Canton.
Yeah, he will go. But we weren't looking, and Budda Baker's a top safety in the league. But we still weren't looking at this defense and going, oh my gosh, how do you do anything against this Arizona defense? They're not world beaters. They don't have the team we watched Sunday night in Aaron Donald, who just harassed Andy Dalton and Justin Fields, but Andy Dalton especially. By the way, that experiment's going to be short-lived. And I know it's L.A. and they're really good, but they don't have Jalen Ramsey. They don't have Aaron Donald. Those are two guys. That Rams defense is pretty darn good. Arizona's defense they got some good players, but it's not. It's probably, when you get down to it, what would you say, middle of the pack defense in the league?
Yeah, probably.
Right.
So what the Titans are trying to be.
It's not top 3. It's not top 5. It's not top 10. It's middle of the pack.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy to say? That's what the Titans are trying to be.
By the way, they looked like a top 3 defense in the league. I don't think they'll keep it up looking like that, but they looked like a top 3 defense. I think that's what really concerned me is it looks like Todd Downing's second stint as an OC They didn't make the proper adjustments. They didn't know how to protect their quarterback, and I don't know why they weren't making the adjustments to protect Tannehill. Tannehill got roughed up yesterday. He got harassed the entire game, and that's a problem. Now, you could say, well, it's week one. He hasn't been an OC in 5 years, so give him time to adjust. Okay, that may be fair, maybe.
Maybe, but again, it goes back to, you want to say, well, you don't have time to let a rookie adjust. What makes you think you have time to let a coach adjust?
Yeah.
That's been on the staff.
Which, by the way, he was sat there and watched Arthur Smith do what
here.
he did all last year.
Right. It's one game, so I'm prefacing this by saying it's one game, but the one game I saw, I don't know how long they're going to be able to get away with that. And Mike Vrabel even said it in his post-game press conference. There are things I got to clean up, and I got to look at and see what's wrong and how we can clean them up. And I took that as, and I'm paraphrasing exactly how he said it, but it was more on the coaching side than it was the player side. So I think he recognized that, and it was on both sides of the ball. You finally give Shane Bowen the title. I mean, I don't think he called a great game either.
I was going to say, did the defense really look that much better?
52% on third down for Arizona. So no. Both coordinators looked like garbage yesterday in their debuts with their new titles. Again, is it just one game and they clean it up? And let's say this, and we're going to have all week to talk about next week. But let's say they go out to Seattle. What does it look like? I heard somebody say it's not that you lost the game. It's what does it look like? How did you lose the game? Were you in it and it was just a close game and you got beat, whatever, in a shootout? That's different. Or did you just get dominated like they did yesterday? If they go out to Seattle and they lose the game and they've cleaned up a lot of stuff, but it's just they're going into a tough environment and they lose in a shootout, then I'll get on here next Monday morning and I'll point out, okay, well, I saw an improvement here, and here. Yes, it stinks they lost the game. They're 0-2 coming back to play Indy, but at least you could tell that they played better. I'm not going to put a must-win on it yet, but how do you lose the game? What does it look like? If they go out there and they get absolutely owned again, then this could be a long season, because that would be very, very concerning.
Have you looked at next week's line?
I have.
Oh, okay. So
I have. Oh, well, I saw it this morning. I don't know if it's changed at all. 5?
It's DraftKings has it at 5.5.
5.5?
I think the good news for them is they're in a pretty weak division. I think that's safe to say. It is not going to be like the NFC West. I think the AFC North is going to be way tougher. I just think it's going to be one of the weaker divisions, if not the weakest division in the league. Because, look, I'm going to go on and predict, or at least say this. I'm not going to predict. I'm going to say this. Don't be surprised if Houston doesn't do exactly what Jacksonville did last year. Don't be surprised. What did Jacksonville do in the first week of the season?
They won, and
everybody was like, "Oh, we were wrong about the Jags."
Oh, Jacksonville looks
good.
We
were wrong. Wait a minute, they're way better than we thought, and they lost the next 15 games.
Yeah, Houston. For those of you that don't know, the leader in the AFC South right now is
the Houston Texans. Now, no one's going to predict them to go on and win the division, but I'm going to say this: they're still going to finish last.
Yeah.
Okay, they are. So. But right now, they're the leader in the clubhouse, and that says everything you need to know about the defense. About the division. Because I would have thought Jacksonville would have won that game, so I would have thought Jacksonville would have logged a win. I thought Indy was going to surprise Seattle and win that game. And so now you fall a game behind.
We differed
Indy.
on that one.
We did. But instead, everybody lost. And I don't think the Jags are going to be in the middle of things either. It's really a two-team race. But the Colts lost. And the Titans lost. Well, guess who Indy plays this week? You looked at the schedule?
I have not. I have not looked at their schedule. Do they play? Are they Jacksonville?
They're playing the Rams.
The Rams. Oh,
yeah. Oh. They're a 4-point underdog at home again. By the way, they start off their season.
Yeah, they're going to go
at
0-2.
Home against Seattle and the Rams, and they're probably going to go 0-2.
Yeah,
2 home games.
The Rams
against the
look
NFC
good.
West. Yeah, I don't know how good the Bears are, but the Rams do look like they're legit. But it's 1 week. I'm not sure, how good Chicago is.
Well, you're right, but I think that defense is okay. I think the defense is pretty good, and Matt Stafford had his way last night. So, I don't know what that if that says more about Chicago or it says more about just how good LA is. But McVay and Stafford, Cooper Kupp, my goodness, guard that guy.
Yeah, well, he's pretty good.
He is pretty good. But, he was just standing there wide open like, hey, what's up?
Well, they've got a guy with the last name Kupp.
Mm-hmm.
They've got a guy with the last name Woods.
Yep.
They've got a guy with the last name Jefferson. Hello, go Nashville.
Van Jefferson. Well, so I'll just go ahead and do this now. I was going to include this in my this
well,
is
you
what
can save it. We're going to do
well,
that next.
I actually have a better one that happened this morning.
Okay.
But so I'll just say it real quick. 3 guys from the mid-state on the Rams. You have Van Jefferson that went to Ravenwood.
Yep.
Bryson Hopkins, son of B-Hop, that went to Innsworth, and then Jalen Ramsey that went to BA. So pretty cool to see that last night.
That's
those
awesome.
3 representing the mid-state. And Van Jefferson, I remember when they made that pick, I just said that's going to be a good pick because I think I wanted him here. I wanted him here bad. I think he's a hell of a player.
Well, I think that was probably the reason they chose to move on from Reynolds, right?
Yeah, they didn't need him.
I don't think there's any doubt.
You got Woods and Kupp and Jefferson now. That's
a pretty nasty 1, 2, 3.
Yep. And then Higbee at tight end. Bryson is a tight end as well. So,
all right, come back, tell us what you know. We've got a really good prize attached to it. That's how we will end the second hour of Darren, Daunic, and Chase. That's next.
Your speaker at home is so smart that even Alexa knows where to find Nashville's best sports talk.
102.5 The Game is Nashville's best sports talk.
Ask Alexa to enable 102.5 The Game. Once enabled, ask Alexa to play 102.5 The Game.
Welcome to 102.5 The Game.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
With the Capital One Saver Card, you earn unlimited 4% cash back on dining out or in. 4% back on entertainment or on popular streaming. And now, 3% back at grocery stores so you can make the cake that makes her day.
Happy birthday to you.
So earn unlimited cash back for going out or staying in with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and the NFL is back, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play, and that's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every single week, and all you got to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. The Ravens and the Chiefs in action this week, a big game coming up on Sunday night. Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill, lots of same-game parlay options available with those 3, and there's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet. So lock in your bet today on FanDuel Sportsbook, which is America's #1 sportsbook, and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, also claim your 30-1 odds on either team to win the biggest game this Sunday, the Chiefs and the Ravens. Just sign up with promo code ROB. That's promo code ROB. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is not withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. A max refund of $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on the mobile and web. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
Vaccines are not enough, and accurate thermometers are essential for everyone. COVID is once again a major concern, and fever is the key symptom for both the flu and COVID. An accurate thermometer, like the Exergen temporal scanner, is essential to detect fevers early and reliably. Studies have shown that non-contact thermometers are ineffective and therefore dangerous, as they create a false sense of security. Exergen is working with a single focus to ensure that everyone who needs an accurate thermometer can purchase one. Learn more at exergen.com.
312 Pizza Company is family-owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style. And always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open 7 days a week and located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 to order 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Jared Stillman.
It's kind of a big deal around here. Kind of a big deal in these parts.
And company.
It's not just the trust, it's the way he gets open, and it's the routes that he runs.
Tune in Stillman and Company for your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Interact with Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Some things you just know.
I have to know. Do you think everybody knows?
When you know, you just know. It's time to set the record straight. Join the fun on This Is What I Know with Darren, Daunic, and Chase.
We do. We want to know what you know. It's that simple. Just tell us what you know. Back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase. We're live here at Vanderbilt Legends Club. Beautiful golf course. Brent Peterson putting on a great event, raising fantastic money for them to continue to research and find ways to beat Parkinson's disease. That's what I know. This entire organization, people that help him, been helping him for years, the dinner, the scramble out here with a morning session and afternoon session. It's just fantastic stuff. But now we want you to tell us what you know. It's that easy. And we'll give you a really cool prize, but you're going to have to call in on the phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, and tell us, what do you know? It's an open canvas. Take it wherever you want. Today should be really easy for you to know something. And the best one will get a pair of tickets to see Alice Cooper and Ace Frehley? Or is it Fraley? Frehley at Ascend Amphitheater on Sunday, October 3rd.
It's a good price. Freely.
Really
He's
good
Freely.
price. It is Freely. What do you know, Chase?
This is what I know. This happened this morning.
You're supposed to go, this is what I know.
This is what I know. There are still good people in this world.
Well, yes, there are.
There are, but I saw it firsthand this morning. So on my way out here, I stopped at Starbucks and, got pastry and coffee and stuff. So make my order, and I'm in line. It's a long line, but it's moving pretty good. And I get to the window, and they go, what did you have? And rarely do they have to do that because they usually got it all together there. And I was like, and I gave them my order. You know, sometimes like you'll order something and then they ask you, what did you order? And you have to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what happened. So I tell them and they go, oh, okay, yeah. Well, the person in front of you paid for your order. And I was like, what? I go, yeah, they got yours. They said whatever and they got yours. So it's already, that's why I was confused because it was already, out of the system. And I said, well, okay, was that like by mistake or like, no, they just wanted to pay for the person behind them. And I was like, well, that's cool. So whoever you are.
Did you pay it forward?
I was, no. And I like was mad at myself that I didn't. So I'm going to do that next time because I was so like flabbergasted.
Right, you were just floored.
Yeah, I was like, what just happened? Like I was so confused. And I like grabbed my stuff and I'm like, thank you. And I like drive off and I go, well, I should do the same thing. Like what just happened? Like I was so just caught off guard. And so immediately I was like, well, I'm bringing this up today. This is what I know. And thank you to whoever that was if you're listening.
You don't even know.
I have no idea.
Oh, well, that's the cool part.
Yeah. I mean, I have no idea. And, it really did make my day because it was just one of those like, all right, well, this is a good start. So, yes, next time I go, which will be tomorrow or the next day, I will be doing the same thing.
Chase knows that he still believes in humanity.
I do, and there are days when it comes real close to that I don't.
Say, I give up.
But this is one of those
days. Give up on you humans.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
So now if you see Chase's car going through a drive-thru, make sure you're the one behind him.
Yes. We'll give out his license plate number a little bit later. When you see him leaving here, follow him to the drive-thru.
I checked my my check card, and like they ordered $50 worth. What the hell?
then you're back to until Friday at noon.
Yeah. Remember how I said there was good left in this world? Well, you all suck. 615-737-1025.
1025. Let's find out what you know. Nate, what do you
not know anything?
This is what I know, fellas. College Game Day loves to poke at teams with Iowa State having the Iowa fan, Ashton Kutcher, be the guest picker. That was amazing.
So was there because I heard somebody told me that he got heckled pretty badly. I don't know the story behind that. We were at the baseball field. So Nate, do you know anything about Chase? Do you know?
Ashton Kutcher is just a huge Iowa Hawkeyes fan.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Was he
they
getting
were
crushed?
At Iowa State.
Right. I know they were named. So was he getting crushed?
Yeah, for being a Hawkeyes fan. For some
Yeah.
reason, they kept chanting, "Take a shower." I don't really understand.
Okay,
that
so that's what somebody was telling me. And okay, now I don't know. Do you know?
I have no
Chase,
idea
what
what
that,
that. I
that
mean,
reference
I
is?
saw this stuff and I was watching it. I'm gonna be honest with you. I have found myself on Saturday mornings watching the Big Noon kickoff more than game day.
Oh, with Big Bob Stoops?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because it's different or, Lee Corso gives me the heebie-jeebies or what it is. I mean, listen, all respect to Coach Corso, but come on, it's time. It's time to not do that anymore. But yeah, I don't know. So I missed the pick segment, and I saw the stuff on Twitter, and so I wasn't really sure. Other than I know he's a big Iowa fan.
I'm trying to. Yeah, thank
Thanks,
you,
Nate.
Nate. I'm trying to. It looks like maybe it was. Okay, so this is stemming. See, this is what there are beauties in the internet. Like a lot of times it's bad. Most of the time it's bad.
There are beauties on the internet. Depends on where you go.
But there's also beautiful things about the internet.
Alrighty then.
Boy, that escalated in a hurry. I guess he was on a podcast recently, and I guess he talked about his showering habits.
Oh,
he's passed
he
on
did.
to his children.
He did, and Mila Kunis talked about it too. That
He said he didn't have hot water growing up as a child.
Yeah, and so he showers.
So he didn't shower much.
He showers like once or twice a week.
Yeah, he's worth how much?
A lot.
Him and his wife. Mila. Big
Mila
fan.
Kunis, big fan of her.
Big fan.
Talk about beauties on the internet. She's
Big fan. I mean, they're worth hundreds of millions of dollars, right?
Yeah.
So he just showers a couple times a week?
100.
So that makes sense. And so he's decided to pass that on to his kids?
140 million. Yeah.
Why?
I don't get
Why?
that.
Why? Okay, so that makes sense now. So they were giving him a hard time about that podcast. That I'm sure he probably went on and thought he was safe. Let's go to Doug. He always knows something. Doug, what do you know?
Fellas, this is what I know, and I'll be the first to tell you that I'm not a smart man. But bad kickers can take the wind out of the sails of any team. You miss a field goal, it leaves points on the field. Sets up the opponent for a good field goal and puts him in position. Has the defense saying, oh, here we go again. Shank kickoff gives the offense and sets up a bad tone. A lot of times college and pro teams all have kicking woes. This in no shape, form, or fashion is what caused the loss for the Tennessee Titans. But I know this. You got a bad kicker, he'd look at funny every time he messed up.
You got problems. That's right. Thank you, Doug,
You
as
got
always.
guys going on the field with snapping their helmet and ain't saying nothing because the kick was shanked, missed field goal, an extra point leaves 6 points on the board that you could have got. It takes the air out of a touchdown. That's what I know. Bad kicking. It sucks, man. That's what I know.
All right, Doug.
It was not
Thank
good.
you. It was not good, and it does. Let's go, James. James, what do you know?
Yes, this is James, and this I know. We need to bring that female soccer player back to kick field goals for us from Vanderbilt because at least she could make one.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I know.
All right. Thank you, James.
She's playing soccer at North Texas.
She is. Let's go to Steve. Steve, what do you know? I think
Hey, guys.
all suggestions are welcome. At
At this point,
yeah.
at this point, what do you do?
Steve, welcome.
Well, hey, guys, this is what I know. I hope he was referring to the Titans and not Vanderbilt, because this is what I know. Coach Lee and the Commodores made our trip to Fort Collins that much better with that late last-second field goal made. That was an awesome win and a trip for us as well.
Nice. That's a good little trip. How nervous were you on how that was going to play out when it was 14-0?
No, I was ready to go and hit the dispensary. So that was
really?
Good thing you hung in there.
Good call.
That was a nice surprise. I'm proud of the boys. They played great. I mean, Colorado State's not the best team in the world, but that's a great win.
After a loss like that, you'll take it any way you can get it. Thank you, Steve.
Indeed. The Titans should call Sarah Fuller at this point.
I said it's a good.
I'm down.
Did you think I was kidding?
No,
I was being serious. Let's go to Eric. Eric, what do you know?
Hey, guys, you may have already – I don't know about this. You may have already covered this, but this is what I know. Taylor Lewan, I know you played like crap. Everybody knows that you played like crap. But you don't need to be going on social media saying I played like crap and thanking Chandler Jones for exposing how bad you played and saying I'm going to do better. Just play better. I mean, that's ridiculous. I'm telling you what, maybe Trey Wingo and some other analysts thought that was wonderful that you put yourself on blast like that and did that. But I think most of the fans didn't care for you sending out that tweet. And if you talk to players, most of them would say they didn't appreciate you saying that on social media. Just play better. I'm just hoping you play better next week, because I don't want to hear that again next week if you play like that again against the Seahawks. Y'all take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Eric, as always. All right, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification as you listen to Darren, Daunic, and Chase on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hold on one second.
WPRT.
This is where we fire the legal ID.
Yeah, been a while since I've had to do that, but here we go.
Locally owned, WPRT FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
All right, Elijah may put me on the list on Friday for that. Let's head over to the Titans facility. Let's hear from the head coach, Mike Vrabel.
It's one guy in a run game, right? We get started and we miss one guy. Or, we don't have the perfect call. There is no perfect call. And we have to, as players and coaches, not think that it's going to be perfect. It's going to look dirty. And guys and as coaches, we're going to have to give them enough confidence and trust to go do their job, whether it's a look that they've seen or not seen. So when you review the game, there's always going to be, man, I wish I had that call back. I wish. And we don't get that luxury, so we have to improve and hopefully get going in drives and get the first down so that the plays that we do call can begin to complement the ones that we have called and will continue to call, and that you get into a rhythm, going 3 and out, and being behind on the chains and having negative plays make it difficult.
I think the defense got affected, from the early stages of the game, later being out there so quickly over and over again.
You know what I mean? Obviously, you want to be able to possess the ball and drive it, and I think that they, again, the ball's on the 1 yard line. We hold them to a field goal after, a poor punt. Hold them to a field goal. We execute down there. It's 3rd and goal on the 6. We get some rush. The quarterback scrambles, and we don't, plaster, and he makes a play and a throw to Hopkins. And, I don't know. I know that defensively your job is to go out there and play defense whenever they call for you. And that's what we have to do. And so whether that takes a toll, our job is to be ready to go play defense whenever we have to.
Taylor was critical of himself, or kind of called himself out on social media. What were his issues yesterday? More technique, focus, execution? After watching his play, what would you say were his shortcomings?
Well, I mean, you get beat, and sometimes, that happens, and so, we have to improve. Taylor has to improve. We've said this before in this league. Your best players, they have to play good on Sunday for you to win. That's how this game is set up. And that didn't happen for us. It happened for Arizona yesterday. And so we have to get those guys ready to go, to get on the road. It won't get any easier. We'll go out to Seattle. So we'll have to get going here pretty quickly, make these corrections, flush it, and be ready to get focused on Wednesday, with a game plan and a way to go out and try to find a way to win.
Seen some encouraging signs from your defense in the preseason, but didn't necessarily carry over. Do you discount that now? Say it was just preseason, or do you tend to say, I'm worried
about today. I'm not worried about preseason. And again, when we have 17 opportunities for second and long situations, we have to capitalize. We can't only win 8 of those 17 opportunities that then create third and 6 or less. We need third and long. So,
but isn't part of the reason you don't win those opportunities because of the preparation that went into preparing to win those opportunities?
And when I say that we're going to try to focus on that stuff that we did well, there were stuff, and then we have to correct, the lapses. There wasn't that many missed tackles. The quarterback scrambled around, made a play on 3rd and 10. They made every play that they needed to make, and we needed to make one stop at one time and start playing more complementary football. What was that, Paul? I didn't hear you when you were interrupting me.
Question about the preseason work, but it would seem the preseason work question factors in to your inability to do the things you're saying you couldn't do.
The preseason work? Like we played well defensively and we've practiced well, or
not being together all of that time, which you kept saying.
Defensively,
be a factor for opening day. Offensively,
I know he was referencing defense, I believe, right, John? Right. So now you want to ask me about what?
The lack of time together for the offense in the preseason, which we asked you about all the time,
right.
You kind of dismissed as a non-factor.
It wasn't dismissed.
Coming into this game.
Nothing is dismissed. That's what it was. It wasn't. We practiced with the guys that were available and that we had and that we wanted to try to get work with and try to have a plan. It wasn't that we dismissed it or I dismissed it. It was, this is who we had. This is who was available for practice. This is the plan that we had, and then we'll have to go out this week and make sure that whoever's ready for the game and those guys that we think are going to be contributors are ready to go.
How confident are you that the things that maybe weren't ready for week 1 or the miscues or the shortcomings yesterday can get fixed in 1 week's time for Seattle?
Yeah, they can get fixed. We've run the football here. We've thrown it. There was positive plays. We protected sometimes, and we threw good passes and got going, and then had a miscue or had a mistake. I'm confident that we'll get things turned around. We got beat. We got beat at home in a home opener. Not that we wanted to, but we have to be ready to go quickly. And it's a fine line between sitting there and pouting. I think we got to own it. It starts with me, and then get ready to work hard, go back to work on Wednesday, and start practice off and build towards the end of the week.
Not making it easy or you mentioned it being easy for them on some occasions. Does that apply to the defensive backs and just, not challenging as much as you wanted to? Because I know that was an area of focus.
Well, it was everything. There was times where we didn't challenge. I thought we challenged, and, I thought Christian Fulton, was encouraging. Christian challenged. He did his job. I'm excited to watch Christian Fulton play football this year, which I was really glad that the official picked up the flag because, him and I were both kind of in the back, and I didn't think he made any contact. And so the guy came in correctly, told him that there wasn't any contact and it wasn't defensive pass interference. And I thought Christian, played well. We just, we all have to play well and continue to improve. It just, maybe just some loose plays on the edge that we have to get numbers over there. We got to trigger and get off blocks and, those types of things. Or when the quarterback keeps it on the goal line on 1st and goal, it's like, we got guys back there, and we know that Kyler Murray wants to have the football in his hand, and they design plays for him down there. So those are some of the things, just the awareness things that we have to continue to coach and understand and say, did we show you that play and that formation No, but we showed you a different formation that was still him keeping it on a naked bootleg, and it was a one-man play.
What you see from the game that we need to stop thinking about being good and start actually being good?
Sure.
Do you think a wake-up call, so to speak, could be beneficial?
Well, I don't, I never know how to answer that. Like, you don't want to lose. Like, I don't think anybody wants to lose, but hopefully we can learn from this quickly, move on. But, you have to go out there every week in this league and prove it. It's a demanding league. It's a great league from that standpoint. The challenges that are presented each week are great. And so, hopefully we'll come back here together and start figuring this thing out here as a team.
From Bud Dupree and how did he hold up in his first action?
Well, Bud had some snaps. He ran around, played hard. I know that there's going to be some things that, he wished he'd done better, like everybody else. I wish I'd coached better, and I'm sure all the players wish they had played better, because we lost. We lost as a team.
What happened on the naked boot in the first quarter where Kyle was killed as soon as the ball was snapped?
Chandler Jones ran up the field and, I guess made a good play.
Or was it just a good defensive play?
Chandler Jones just ran up the field. If Ryan knew that Chandler Jones was going to run up the field, if they give us the luxury, we've had a lot of success here running boots, and that one wasn't, so, that one wasn't. We didn't have any success there.
Play action.
But obviously, if we'd like to try to salvage it, and telling you, it was a really nice play. He put his hand out there and matched the quarterback's throwing hand. Whether we can get that off and get it out and dirt it, or just take care of the football. But he made a good play, guys.
I guess in general, you guys didn't do a lot of it. It didn't seem to succeed.
No,
well.
Play action on 2nd and 12 is not really what you dial it up for, John.
Does the lack of the running game really hurt that significantly?
Again, that always goes into, this is what I've always tried to say, man. If we can start stringing some plays together and you can get into some drives and you don't have to convert on 3rd down every single time, and you can run, you can get some first downs early in the series, then you open up a lot of different plays and a lot of different ideas. No different than when we got into the drive and, Watt and Chandler Jones goes over, and we go off on the side and we say, hit the flea flicker, and we hit a play there. Those are. But we had gotten into the drive. We had gotten a couple first downs. They were tired. They came up. But you're on 2 plays and it's 3rd and 10. Like you're kind of running out of options.
What's the line between a healthy swagger for this team and maybe a detrimental arrogance that's not the best for this team?
Oh, I hope we don't have much of that today. I hope that we're, yesterday that went away pretty quickly. It's 17-0 or whatever it is, and we don't want to be fake with anything we do. Everything we do, we want to be real, feed off each other, support each other. Not trying to taunt anybody. We want to celebrate as a team, as a unit, but to do that, you have to be able to make some plays. And I'd say that we should make some plays, and that again builds some momentum and some excitement.
What did you see from Julio, and maybe did he give you maybe a talking point already about maybe keeping your composure and getting that penalty?
Sure, critical mistake. I don't think that those are absolutely that's absolutely nothing that we coach or teach. So that would fall into the category of doing dumb shit that hurts the team. Right there in bold letters. Goes from 3rd and 1 to 3rd and 16.
What's your sort of approach now that you've got time to deal with the kicker situation? What do you intend to do, look at, talk about the next couple days?
Just determine who we feel like is going to make them, and take a look at Michael, take a look at some guys working out. Randy's on the practice squad. Find somebody that we think is going to make them and protect for them. That's the plan.
Mike, you got blown out in the first game of a season when you were a player and ended up winning the Super Bowl. Kind of what did you take away from that experience, and is there anything you can share with the team in that regard?
Well, I think that I'm not going to try to get into that right now with the team. We need to focus on us, but that it's a long season, that you have to continue to improve. Whether you win or lose, you got to move on to the next game, make the corrections, try to recognize how important we believe the keys are. We talk about turnovers -2. We talk about quarterback efficiency, 122 to 75, and we talk about running the football and stopping the run. It was, whatever it was, 130 to 89. So there it is right there. Pretty clear that's why we didn't have success yesterday.
A lot of slipping from Jenkins in particular. The guys got to get that down in pregame and figure out a way to keep their feet.
Just like we tell them every week, make sure we go out, check the field. We don't practice over there. Check the sun, returners. Let's find shoes that work. Our job is to wear the equipment that helps us do our job, and part of a defensive back's job is to stay on his feet. So that'll be important that we try to focus on that.
Preparation this week, did you face a similar quarterback in Russell Wilson, and what are just early challenge in facing them?
Carson runs very hard. It looks like their defense played really well yesterday. Lockett continues to be one of the best deep ball receivers, again, that I can remember for his stature. He's a small guy that plays the deep ball extremely well. Obviously Metcalf and Everett, Russell Wilson is just composed. So it'll be a huge challenge to go out there and handle that road environment, and we're going to have to start here really quickly.
Where does Rashad Weaver need to grow to be able to be active on game days?
Probably just continuing to focus on his strength at the line of scrimmage and, special teams, developing that, developing that role. And then, Weave's working hard. It just, got 5 guys at that spot. And, you saw Ola factor a little bit yesterday, and, but we'll keep looking at it and keep working, with Weave, and, like his attitude, and, he's working hard and give us a good look on the show team. And that's why I talked to those guys about taking advantage of those reps to improve against good players.
One matchups that you guys, Saffold has mentioned it, other guys have mentioned it, you have. Is it just a matter of literally a player just making a play, or where is technique in that? Like, how can you guys keep those type of things from happening so much?
What, not winning one-on-one?
Yeah, not
winning. When we win the game, we usually win the one-on-ones, and when you lose, they've only got 11 guys. We've got 11 guys. You got to put them in a position, and so it comes down to, technique, finishing, those are things that we talk about, maybe what his alignment is, or knowing his skill set. Okay, this is a guy that likes to rush inside, or this is a guy that, may use a certain move, or this route, this receiver runs a certain route, or this is what he likes to do with his route. And I think that's a lot of going into winning one-on-one matchups, is knowing who that other one is, and what he likes to do. So, hopefully we can continue to gain knowledge of who we're going against, and then find a way to execute, whether we're trying to block them, or we're trying to beat them, or try to cover them.
In a case like yesterday where a guy's just consistently getting his tail whooped, how do you address that? Do you chalk it up to, hey, look, he was just a better man that day, let's spin it forward, or how do you address that?
Well, address it that we have to, we have to be better, and we have to try to stay out of some of those situations that, would put him, a player in those positions of, dropping back and throwing as many times as we did. We know that's not ideal, and that's not, that's not what we want to be. And if we get into those situations, then we're going to have to be better going forward.
You said that you guys lost the swagger with the score early on yesterday. That's understandable.
Well, I'm just saying, we just, I don't even know what the swagger is, man. But I just know that if you're not playing complimentary and you're not creating plays, it's hard to have a false enthusiasm, right? We don't want to have a false enthusiasm. And so, if we could make one stop or get a conversion or do something fake a punt and get it, and then go out and be able to get them with 12 guys on the field, that maybe could get going or get a first down. But they stopped us. We faked a punt, and they stopped us 3 plays later.
I guess the question is, though, a lot of guys talked about how they were building the swagger throughout the preseason. Then yesterday happens. Do you want them to spend this week regaining the swagger, or do they need to have a humble, beat desperation going into this week?
Yeah, no, I think that we should say, and again, I hope that we approach every week the same, right? I hope that we're putting everything into each week as we possibly can, whether we win or lose. And if we do more today or Wednesday because we lost, then we're doing the team a disservice after we win, right? So hopefully we recognize that whether you win or lose, there's going to be corrections that need to be made, and there's work that needs to be done. And I apologize for not answering your question correctly the first time, but hopefully we can take that approach out on the field on Wednesday and our preparation and our game planning and all those types of things, and probably make it a little bit more heightened, because of how we performed on Sunday.
Struggles yesterday, you think related to the fact that he was, playing for the first time since October?
I think every excuse that anybody could come up with, you guys, me, the coaches, they would all be valid. Excuses are always valid, right? You can make a case for every excuse, but whatever it is, dog ate my homework. We're going to have to just do enough and prepare enough and perform enough so that we do our job, that in order to help the team and not live behind any sort of excuse. That's just not going to be good enough here or in the National Football League. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
There you go. That's head coach Mike Vrabel telling it like it is, Darren.
All right, well, let's come back and discuss some things you just heard there from the head coach Mike Vrabel about yesterday's performance. We'll do that on the other side as you listen to Darren, Daunic, and Chase here live at Vanderbilt Legends Club here on ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The MTSU Blue Raiders live here.
Down, Middle Tennessee! 3-ball, yes, sir!
And when you're in the borough, tune us in on 97.5.
In the end zone, caught, touchdown!
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and the NFL is back, and FanDuel Sportsbook wants you to get the most out of every play, and that's why they're giving everyone a $10 risk-free bet every single week, and all you got to do is bet a same-game parlay bet with 3 legs or more, and if your bet doesn't win, FanDuel will pay you back up to $10. The Ravens and the Chiefs in action this week, a big game coming up on Sunday night. Mahomes, Kelsey, Hill, lots of same-game parlay options available with those 3, and there's no feeling like nailing a same-game parlay bet. So lock in your bet today on FanDuel Sportsbook, which is America's #1 sportsbook, and get up to $10 back if your bet doesn't win. If you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, also claim your 30-1 odds on either team to win the biggest game this Sunday, the Chiefs and the Ravens. Just sign up with promo code ROB. That's promo code ROB. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Refund issued is not withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. A max refund of $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Same game parlay available for multiple sports in all states on the mobile and web. Gambling problem? Call Tennessee Redline at 1-800-889-9789.
312 Pizza Company is family-owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style. And always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open 7 days a week and located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 to order 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Zines First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Vaccines are not enough, and accurate thermometers are essential for everyone. COVID is once again a major concern, and fever is the key symptom for both the flu and COVID. An accurate thermometer, like the Exergen temporal scanner, is essential to detect fevers early and reliably. Studies have shown that non-contact thermometers are ineffective and therefore dangerous, as they create a false sense of security. Exergen is working with a single focus to ensure that everyone who needs an accurate thermometer can purchase one. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's time for Darren, Daunic, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Back here on Darren, Daunic, and Chase, presented by Creation CBD. Creation CBD products, curated for life. Beautiful, gorgeous day here in Middle Tennessee, even though the result was not good at Nissan Stadium. A lot of people angry, a lot of people looking around going, what about all this hype? And this team was going to run away with the division and Super Bowl contenders and all that. Well, it is 1 week. It is one game, and there are 17 this year, as you know. So 16 more to go. But it is a beautiful day out here at Vanderbilt Legends Club. The sun did come up, and it's a gorgeous day in Middle Tennessee. Okay,
Yeah.
You just heard from the head coach, Mike Vrabel.
Mike Fisher out here.
Mike Fisher out here, which we do. He was going to be golfing, but the afternoon session getting ready to take off here soon.
Yep.
What were your overall impressions of what you heard from the head coach?
He tried to avoid the coach better, play better, but he got to it eventually. So he did work it in. He was kind of tiptoeing around how he wanted to say it, but he did. Wasn't too much or wasn't really anything surprising. He did praise Christian Fulton unprompted when he was talking about the defense and some specific plays, like are there areas that you did like, and he brought him up and said that he thought Christian Fulton played a good game, that he liked the plays he was making and the growth that he has shown as a second-year player. But, I mean, his whole thing was, yesterday was not a good day. We now have to go and correct the things that need to be corrected and build on the things that were good. He said that, there were some tackles that were made. They weren't all missed. There were some good things that, in watching the film, that they have to remember to keep building on that while correcting everything else. He said he hopes his team can learn quickly from this because even though there is an extra game, it's a quick league. They're going to a tough place to play next week in Seattle, and so they have a quick turnaround, and they got to get things cleaned up for that. On kicking, find one that can help us. That was pretty much his answer. Yeah. Find one that can help us, whether that's Randy Bullock on the practice squad, Badgley getting things figured out. He was pretty quick to answer that. We got to find a kicker that's going to be able to help us. And when asked about the Julio Jones penalty, this is where I appreciate it. And we did have to.
He could have said dumb bleep.
Yeah, he could, but he didn't. We had to use what we call the dump button on him, but he used his phrase of doing dumb bleep that hurt the team.
Yep.
And that was something dumb that hurt the team.
He did not hold back on his star receiver.
And I am totally 100% cool with that. Like, I think that's what you have to do. You treat nobody differently. I think if you're talking about who's he disappointed in, he's disappointed in himself and the entire team. But when he was specifically asked about a 15-yard penalty that basically ended a drive, he gave that answer, don't do dumb stuff that hurts the team, and it's the truth. And it was to the star receiver that they gave up a lot to get, that there was a ton of hype around to come in on this team, and so I appreciate that. I was totally fine with him saying that.
Yeah, he certainly did not hold back on Julio Jones, on the Julio Jones play, for sure. I will say this: we don't always agree, or I'll speak for myself. I won't say we in this case, even though I know really how the show feels. I haven't always agreed with Mike Vrabel. We've certainly discussed that through and through, but there's also things I do understand about Mike Vrabel and understand how he operates. I will say this: it's not the first bad game they've had. It's not the first bad start or bad patch that they've ever had under Mike Vrabel. And I will say this for him. He has been able to rally the troops. He's been able to, when things start looking one direction, he's been able to get them going another direction. And even when there's been a whole lot of bad going on, like what's wrong with the kicking game or what's wrong with this, what's wrong with that, and sometimes they don't get it fixed. That's the amazing thing. I think it's really it's a hats off. It's a tip of the cap to him, because there's times when it's like, well, you didn't fix the kicking game. The kicking game was an absolute splatter show the entire season, and yet it didn't cost you games. I don't know how, but that's the case. And so good on him for that. There are times when they weren't able to get off the field on third down, and they did it for an entire season, and it didn't cost them a bad season. There's times when they could not get to the quarterback. Oh, yeah, last season for the entire season, and yet they still won the division.
Right.
And they made the playoffs. So there have been times where even when we point out deficiencies or we point out problems and say, how are they going to fix that, even when they haven't been able to even fix it, it still hasn't bit them in the you-know-what.
Right.
So I don't know of all the problems that we've higher season. Why? Because we've seen it play out before. But I will say this about Mike Vrabel. It seems like his coaching staff and these players, or the players that they have been able to overcome that stuff. If you had to pick one thing that we've talked about today that you don't believe they will be able to fix and it's going to haunt them all year, how would you answer that? What would be the one?
Man, it's a good question because there's so many to choose from in that. I mean, right now I think the easy answer is kicking, because I don't have faith that they're going to get that figured out. But to your point, they have been able to do those things where they have deficiencies that they can't overcome, but then they have things that are so good that it covers it up, or it doesn't cover it up, but it helps it. And like last year, for instance, the offense was so good that they won games because they put up so many points, and therefore the defense being so bad, yes, we talked about it. Yes, it was a concern. Yes, it needed to get better, but they still won the division. And but we saw, and we even saw the defense play better than the offense in the playoff game. So you had that happen. But to your question, man, I mean, the offensive line scares me. It scares me right now.
I thought we talked about it the whole offseason that it was going to be maybe a strength.
Yeah, because of the depth. They put Kendall Lamb in there.
Ooh,
oh, Lord. I hope you don't see Kendall Lamb in there. I saw so many tweets of, hey, where's Dennis Kelly? Can they bring Dennis Kelly back? Unfortunately, he's with Green Bay.
I think I just threw up in my mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, he was awful. I mean, you talk about Taylor Lewan being a turnstile. I mean, Kendall Lamb just got mowed over. That's just basically what that was.
It was.
But the entire, I'm not giving a good grade to anybody on the offensive line. Like, they were all bad. And I get it. You have guys coming back from COVID and all that stuff. They were all bad. Like, and Mike Vrabel even used the phrase, whatever excuse that you come up with, whether it's us or you guys, it's all true about this team yesterday. Anything that could go wrong went wrong, and we got to fix it.
So your answer was the kicking game? You think that's going to be another hindrance again?
Yeah, and I'm worried about the offensive line.
And so the offensive line is where you go signature.
Yeah.
And so you didn't bring up defense, which is amazing.
Well,
because that was the topic of discussion last year, and it didn't look any better this year.
No, it didn't. And so, like I said, there could definitely be a lot of answers to that question. But, the hope is that they do get somewhat better on defense on third down specifically, but it's not going to be easy starting this week. You think it's going to improve going against Russell Wilson?
Well, they better because they'll be off to an 0-2 start.
Yeah.
Now, the good news is the normal, typical stat that we always see, 0-2 teams only have a 12% chance of making the playoffs. Like, we've ripped off that stat, like, how many years in a row?
Right.
The good news is there's 17 games, so I guess the stat is not going to be
the stat changes.
12%. It'll be up a little bit from that, right, with an extra game. But still, 0-2 start is not a hole you want to be in. And, boy, the Colts, and once again, though, I'll say it, the good news is your division is weak, and the Colts are 0-1, and they have the Rams this week.
So that certainly helps.
So there could be the two front runners, the two favorites for the division, could very easily be 0-2.
Let me ask you this question, and some people listening out there may go, it's an overreaction to ask this. It's one game. But then there's some that I think go, I'm thinking the same thing. Do you think both coordinators survived the season after what you saw yesterday?
Of course.
No doubt.
No doubt. You going to ask me why?
Because the head coach is loyal?
Of course.
Too loyal?
We've talked that once again, a topic hashed, rehashed, smothered, covered.
Right. But here's the difference.
He is loyal and probably at times to a fault, and probably there's a whole – well, it's not probably. There's a whole long line of coaches that have been accused of being loyal to a fault. And, look, he plays the card, and I don't have an issue with it because I told you and Willie in the offseason and the listeners that, look, I don't know what he knows about Shane Bowen.
Right.
I don't know what they know about Logan Woodside, right? Because there are certain times when they make these decisions, but Mike Vrabel will dig in, and he's going to tell you that he's smarter than you, and he's going to tell you how he knows more than you. And you know what? In the case of some of these guys that were not around, he does. It doesn't mean that it ends up being the right answer, but he does. Like, ultimately, he does know more. I don't know how Shane Bowen operates on a day-to-day basis behind the scenes. He does. But he digs in, man, and he is rarely well, you give me the examples. What are the examples where he punts his boys?
I think his first year, didn't he move on from a special teams coach his first year?
That was deemed one of his boys?
Well, it was on his staff.
No. There's a difference.
Yeah.
One of his boys.
Right.
It's clear these guys are in the Mike Vrabel club.
I don't know if Todd Downing is necessarily
Why?
Mike Vrabel.
He didn't look outside.
No.
He chose to keep him.
No.
I mean, he chose to go within house.
But do you think that he chose to bring in Jim Schwartz, or do you think he was told to bring in Jim Schwartz? Because I can't give you a definite answer on that.
I don't know. I honestly, I don't know.
Because that is way outside of something that he's done.
I think even if we asked either one of them, I'm not sure they would tell us.
No, they're not going to tell us. But
somebody had to make that right. Like, somebody is responsible for him, and I don't know who it is. I don't know.
I think he was told.
But you're guessing, and
I'm guessing.
And I would just be guessing. And honestly, I don't even know what my guess would be.
I
really don't.
I'm giving my opinion and it's based on everything that you just said, because he's loyal to a fault, and Shane Bowen is one of his guys, one of his boys. So if you're him and you say, hey, you're the defensive coordinator now, I'm giving you the title, you're my guy, I got you, then why would you turn around and say, oh, but by the way, I'm going to go bring in this guy that was a head coach and a defensive coordinator for this organization. He's going to come in and be an advisor for you. Well,
because it's pretty clear that, whether you believe Shane Bowen was truly in charge behind the scenes privately with nobody else knowing.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Whether you believe it or you don't, it's clear that he needs help.
Right.
But
haven't we also said that Vrabel, with some of his coaching decisions, needs help? Didn't we have a conversation about do they give him an advisor?
Yeah.
So I go back to.
Well, he's got 2 former head coaches that were brought in.
I understand. And so, again, I think that Hazlitt was his hire, but was Schwartz his hire? Was he told, hey, Jim Schwartz is available, he's living here, he's going to come work with you?
Yeah, I honestly, it's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. But there's just no proof unless, look, there are a set of circumstances. I can go to the far extreme. If the first 4 weeks they lose by 3 to 4 touchdowns a game,
yep,
and they're 0-4, like, sure, like all bets are off, right? Like I can create scenarios where you say, well, yeah, no matter how loyal you are, all bets are off at this point. But, I mean, there's also no proof that a Mike Vrabel coach team can get to a point where all bets are off with just it's a complete and utter splatter show.
Right.
Like there's no proof of that since he's been here as the head coach.
Well,
that it's just a train wreck.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
You may say he cost him a game.
Right. But, like, is it spiraling
Is
out
it
of control?
0-4 and look, they've lost by 3 and 4 touchdowns a game? I mean, there's just no proof that we will see that.
Well, this is something that I think is worth paying attention to because when, everybody's under pressure. Everybody in this game has pressure at some point. But the man with the most amount of pressure on him is not the head coach. It's the general manager because he's the one that put all this together. John Robinson's the one that drafted the players, signed the players, hired the coaches. He fired a guy after winning a playoff game to bring in his guy because he didn't think he would take the organization far enough. So ultimately, he's the one that is feeling all the pressure. So if they do start out, 0-4 or 1-3, and the defense just doesn't look any better and it looks like poo, that's when you may start seeing okay, well, I got to step in and make a change. And the GM and the head coach are having those uncomfortable conversations, and who knows how those go.
Yeah,
they happen.
I just, when you ask the initial question, it would have to be for me to see change from him. It's just got to be the far extreme because right now, I mean, you were ready to punt Gostkowski after week 1.
I was, and I was wrong.
I did not. I was willing to hang on, and then I got to the point where I was like,
it's time.
It's time, and he didn't.
Yep.
And when I said it's time, like that's it, and I cut him on my fantasy team, I was like, that's it.
Right.
Like you've got to move on. It's kind of that's when he turned the corner and things evened out. But what I ask you again, under the umbrella, his boys.
Yeah.
What are the examples that he punts?
He doesn't.
He moves on from.
He's loyal to a fault. But the whole reason I'm bringing this up, at what point does he get forced to make some of those changes? Or is there a point?
To the far extreme, which is what I said. To me, it'd have to get to the far extreme.
So is 0-4 the far extreme?
I would say, would you say that's panic?
Yeah.
0-4?
With what this team is on paper?
How
and
many
what they
0-4 teams do we see make the playoffs?
I'm sure it's happened, but not many.
But it's few and far between.
Yeah.
Now, they'll get an extra game to correct it, but, yeah, it's still few and far between.
And if that does happen and Robinson does have to step in and say, hey, this is what you got to do, what does that do moving forward for their relationship?
Yeah. Let's go to Kathleen on our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What's up?
Hello, guys.
Hello.
It was a difficult game yesterday. Very difficult to watch. But I think Chicken Little's coming out a little bit. I've been listening to you guys for a long time, and this is the worst I have ever heard you guys say, let's just trash the whole thing. Now, here's my point. It's one game. They haven't played together in preseason. Let's give them a chance. Let's not trash the whole organization. I mean, just get rid of everybody for one game. Let's see what happens down the road. I know it's your job to analyze, and that's fine. Okay, secondly, maybe Taylor Lewan, you admit it yourself, maybe they said, no, you're not going in front of the press. So
and I said that. I said I don't know what happened. And I said that could have been what happened, that they said we're going to shield you and you're not going to talk. I said that. I don't know if he chose or they chose. But either way, it's unacceptable for whoever chose for him not to talk. It's unacceptable. A left tackle with that contract.
In front of the press, how is he supposed to respond if not on Twitter?
Yeah, no. Look, you're right, Kathy. If they chose for him not to, then yeah, there's no doubt that's all he can do, right? I don't know. They don't look. Just my gut. You're not telling Taylor Lewan he's not talking. I don't buy that. I feel like my gut is telling me he absolutely chose not to. Like he's one that's typically never runs from that situation. I mean, have you ever known him since he's been here not talk?
I agree.
So
I agree.
my gut kind of tells me, one, they don't tell a guy like Taylor Lewan you're not talking. So it kind of feels without knowing that he shut it down. That's just my gut. But I don't know that.
And y'all know him better than I do. I don't know. So y'all know him better than I do. But at the same time, I'm just going to give him a little bit more than the first game.
Okay.
And I'm not going to, just stop, just be upset and sell my ticket and da-da-da-da-da. But I am disappointed in the people that did sell their tickets, which they do all the time. And based on the fans that were sitting near me that are Arizona fans, I hope that team loses every single game going forward. Because those people were horrible.
I was wondering. I was like, why am I hearing
Kathleen,
things?
we just got bottles thrown at us. A 7-foot-tall defenseman just walked through.
Some large man just chucked a bottle.
I missed you too.
At Chase's head.
Who was that?
Where's the glass so Skillsy could slam him against the glass?
Was it Taylor Lewan?
Oh, my gosh.
Save us.
Sorry about
Save
that.
us, Eki.
Sorry.
Love you, Skillsy.
Yeah, man. Look, I hear you, Kathy. Thank you so much for the call. Well, look, I don't think anybody has said throw out the baby with the bathwater.
No.
Have we said that? I mean, we're just – how else are you supposed to talk about this and say, hey, everything's going to be just fine? And we've said – I just got through saying he's proven that when they've been in these situations – they pull out and they respond. I suspect they'll respond in Seattle, although it's going to be hard to convince a lot of people that they will because, one, that was already deemed a brutal game to begin with.
Yep.
And two, you look like that at home against Arizona. But here's the deal. Let's think about this. What was everybody saying for the people who did care? What was everybody saying about Vanderbilt after week one?
Oh,
you got trashed at home by ETSU.
Right. It's
FCS.
over. This guy's a joke.
You're never going to win, and they go out to Colorado State and beat Colorado State. So,
gutsy win.
I mean,
they were down 14-0.
So
and they came back.
No one believed that, right?
Nope.
Everybody in our silly underdogs. I'd like to know how many people in our contest. Let's see if Cliff McCardle can send us the stats of how many people chose Vanderbilt to win that game.
I think he just sent those, actually. I can look that up.
All right. Why don't you look that up, and I will tell everybody about week one being over in the NFL, but the season is just getting started at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. To kick off week two, DraftKings is giving all new customers a can't-miss offer. All you have to do is just bet $1 on any football game this week and receive $200 in free bets instantly, no matter what. That's right. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new customers $200 in free bets instantly when they bet at least $1 on any football game. DraftKings is safe, reliable, and secure, making it easy for you to deposit and withdraw your money at your convenience. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use that promo code 1025GAME to receive $200 in free bets when you place a $1 bet on any football game. Again, that code 1025GAME to get your $200 in free bets instantly this week at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the NFL. Remember, you must be 21 years of age or older, Tennessee only. Restrictions do apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text the Tennessee Red Line, 1-800-889-9789.
Hang out with us every weekday starting at 6 a.m. with Robbie and Rexroad.
Limping off the field. I can confirm he was limping off the field.
Darren, Daunic, and Chase from 10 to 2.
Wouldn't say it deserves a gold star. We want people to play along. This is what's crazy.
And Stillman and Company from 2 to 6.
I want to go last. Can I go last? Sure.
Watch live on Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. Tune in anytime on the Game Nashville app or your home speaker. This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Hi guys, it's Andrew with Hillside Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with erectile dysfunction and sick of pills? Well, I have breaking news. Hillside Medical Clinic uses the most proven form of wave technology available, clinically shown by Cambridge to open up and regrow blood vessels. No pills and no side effects. If you're ready to put a stop to your ED by treating the root cause, call us now, and not only will the assessment and blood flow ultrasound be free, we'll also include something unique that produces powerful results in the bedroom. You're gonna love that. And to those that call in the next 2 minutes, you'll qualify for an extra treatment free. This is an unheard of value worth hundreds of dollars. Call 615-576-5000. That's 615-576-5000. Put a stop to your erectile dysfunction and get your love life back. Call Hillside Medical Clinic in the next 2 minutes to qualify for this unprecedented offer. 615-576-5000.
Hey, it's Jared from my friends at Hiller. There's no better time to upgrade your essential home systems than this month with Hiller. They're offering credits for your old home systems. Trade in your old HVAC unit and earn up to $1,500 in credits towards a select new system. Upgrade from a standard water heater to a tankless water heater and earn up to $500 with your trade. Trade up to a new electrical panel and earn up to $500 in credits for your old one. Their work is backed by the Happy You'll Be or Services Free guarantee. Their technicians are continuing to take measures to keep you and your family safe and healthy on every single call. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud sponsors of the Nashville Predators, Vanderbilt, and the Tennessee Volunteers.
Willie Daunic here for Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. The Pella Windows and Doors brand has the reputation as the leader in the industry for top quality window and door products. When you add the fact that my friends at Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville are a local company having served the greater Nashville community for over 40 years, that's an unbeatable combination. Pella of Nashville is growing and has opportunities for all types of talent. Plus, they're offering sign-on bonuses. Go to PellaNashville.com. That's PellaNashville.com.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobis. Upper 80s and low 90s for your Monday. So warmer temperatures, but low on the humidity. No chance for rain, and mainly sunny throughout the day. Overnight temperatures go into the 60s, and we'll be back up near 90 degrees once again for your Tuesday.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Is it time to fix your roof? Trust the roofers with integrity. E2 Roofing is a veteran-owned and operated local roofer that has built the reputation of delivering better service. E2 assists customers with roof repair and replacements through their insurance claim assistance, which has awarded them with 95-star Google ratings and an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau. Find out if insurance will pay for your new roof with a free inspection at e2roofingnashville.com.
Hey, mortgage rates have taken a nosedive, back to the lowest in history. Don't miss your chance to lock in a lower house payment with Loan Pronto now. Hey, it's Willie Daunic. Call Loan Pronto today and take advantage of their super popular zero-cost refi program. You can get a rate with an APR in the low 2s with no junk fees and no closing costs. Yes, they pay your closing costs. Who else does this? Loan Pronto's all-digital process is fast and easy. Virtually no paperwork required, and most loans get closed in 14 days. And if you act now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. Think about that little bonus. Call Loan Pronto now and start the process before rates spike again. Get your forever loan today. 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. If your current mortgage rate starts with a 3, you need to act now. 615-499-5780, loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans eligible for zero-cost option.
Robbie Stanley.
Maybe it doesn't hurt their bottom line this year. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen on that front.
Joe Rexroad.
5 guys who are on the roster are not going to be on the roster.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexroad every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. If you've missed any of today's show, just search Darren, Daunic, and Chase on Apple, Spotify, or on your favorite podcast platform.
From Julio, and maybe did he give you maybe a talking point already about maybe keeping your composure and getting that penalty?
Sure, critical mistake. I don't think that those are absolutely that's absolutely nothing that we coach or teach. So that would fall into the category of doing dumb that hurts the team. Right there in bold letters.
Right there in bold letters. There you go. Titans head coach Mike Vrabel, his press conference just a little bit ago, talking about yesterday's loss, the debacle against the Arizona Cardinals. I almost said Coyotes. Arizona Cardinals, as the Titans will lose that one yesterday. Welcome back into Darren, Daunic, and Chase McCabe. Willie Daunic has joined us here at the Legends Club as the Brent Peterson Golf Tournament is underway. Just saw a ton of the Predators walking through. Ryan Johansson is here. Roman Josi, UC Saros. See Mikhail Granlund. Even saw Marty Erat, former Predator. He was here as well. So quite a few walking through for Brent's golf tournament. But Mike Vrabel, when asked about Julio Jones and that penalty, he did not hold back about doing dumb bleep that hurts the team.
I'd say he didn't hold back.
Yeah, and as I said, when it happened, I was like, I'm cool with it. You can't do that stuff, especially because that ruined a drive. And who knows what happens after that. It was going to be a 3rd and 1, or really a 3rd and inches that they most likely were going to be able to pick up. And it then becomes a 3rd and 16 because of that penalty. You can't have that happen.
Well, it just goes in a big bucket. You guys have probably gone down the list. It's probably taken you, what are we at 1 hour, 55 minutes of the show. You've probably gone down the checklist. 2 hours and 55 minutes. And we still have another 1 hour, 55 minutes of things that you can put in that bucket.
Yes.
So, quite the outing. I mean, you might as well get it all out of your system in one shot if you could do it that way.
Yeah.
So, you know what? You got to move forward.
And we've
if there's ever a little cold water in the face, as you get more removed from it, maybe that's what a team needs to get on the same page. I think we all were concerned all throughout training camp. We discussed the possibility. You certainly don't hope it happens, but the coaches had to be aware that there were going to be some teams that hadn't practiced much, that had a lot of people missing time for different reasons, coming off of an injury from last year or COVID or whatnot, a combination of all these things, that it was going to mean a rough start. And it was the absolute worst nightmare.
Yep.
And you could not have said, and I think we certainly had this possibility out there that you could have it, not go right the first game. And needless to say,
it didn't go right.
Yeah.
It did not go right. I'm gonna throw a few things at you to get your thoughts because you're just joining us and haven't really been able to give your full thoughts. I know you need to cool down a little bit.
No, I don't. I'm glad to be doing something I have more expertise at than golf, at least more experience at.
But if you're watching us on the stream on Twitch, on Twitter, YouTube, our video streaming is brought to you by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. So appreciate them for coming on board.
Did we upgrade
with that? We did.
I feel nice.
We did. That's
I'm going to have to be more conscious of my look.
Yes.
On the stream.
We have upgraded.
More definition, more focus.
Yeah.
It can't just
low 4K.
I can't just, loaf in here.
No, you cannot. You cannot. But we will come back.
Look at Coach McFarland. He's ready to go.
He is ready. Coach McFarland.
He's ready to captain his
team. He's got
his
hat on. He's ready to go.
I gave him the thumbs up.
He's feeling good.
I did fade at the end, I have to admit.
Was the heat getting to you?
My last shot, I don't know if you can actually see it from here. On the 8, we actually started on hole 1. My last shot of the day from the opposite tee box on the top of the hill, I tried to chip it. I hit the only cedar tree on the course, and it stuck in there like a Christmas ornament.
Oh, no.
And we could not find it.
Oh, no.
I think it epitomized my last few holes. I didn't help my team very much down the stretch.
You missed. We got attacked by Hal Gill. He threw a bottle at us, so that was fun. He said he missed us, and I guess that was his way of showing it. But
the most fun thing about this day is every year that they've had this, you see people that you haven't seen since the end of last season.
I call it the start of school.
It's exactly it. It's the gathering for the first day of school, and everybody says hi to everybody. Everybody's in a good mood. Everybody goes out and has a lot of fun. The people that come out and play in this thing are always so much fun. I've never had a dull group. It's always a group that usually are friends going in. They're doing it together. They're doing it to help the foundation, and we just have a blast out there.
Yeah. Well, my pick to win is about to tee off because I think Ryan Johansson's pretty good at this. So he's right over there.
Let's see what kind of squad he's got.
Marty Erat.
Because the key for the people that win this thing is you really have to average a birdie.
Because it's a scramble, yeah.
It's a scramble, so you need a couple of good players. One good player can carry you to a point, but everybody else needs to come up with a decent shot at the right time.
Well, we'll get more of your Titans reaction, 615-737-1025. I got several texts we can read through, or you can call, as always, on our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. It's Darren, Daunic, and Chase, presented by Curation CBD products, curated for life on ESPN 1025 The Game.
From all-day talk, the good shooters, you notice, because their shot looks different. The puck just seems to be on the goalie quicker. To the biggest games.
Open man is Devontae Smith, touchdown.
Nashville's best sports talk is always at your fingertips. Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game.
Man, it was a thrilling opening week and a surprising one in a lot of cases in the NFL. And now we got week 2. Joe Rexrode here, hoping your fridge is stocked, your recliner is ready, and that you are ready to log into the FanDuel Sportsbook and claim your risk-free bet. That's right. FanDuel is giving all customers a risk-free bet for week 2 of the NFL season. Hey, look, I saw the Packers get blown out against the Saints. I see the Packers have the Lions coming in. I'm just thinking they might have a little response in mind. But, hey, do whatever you want on week 2. Bet the money line, take the over, throw in some action on a prop bet. Build a same-game parlay. There are so many ways to play. If you're new, sign up with promo code Joe102 to also receive a risk-free bet up to $1,000. That's promo code Joe102. Get on the fun on the FanDuel Sportsbook. You must be 21 or older in present Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued is now a trouble site credit that expires in 7 days. Max refund $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you have a gambling problem, call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
It's soccer season in Tennessee. You want goals?
He takes it inside, outside, right foot. Great finish! What a goal!
You want saves?
Lifted high, into the hands of Joe Willis. He makes the catch.
You want big drama?
Hooked in and headed in. Delirium! It's Yonder Cadiz!
Nashville SC are back at home Wednesday, September 29th versus Orlando City SC. The action kicks off at 7:30 p.m. Tickets on sale now at NashvilleSC.com.
How'd you like that?
Rock Bottom Nashville is Broadway's original brewery, where all brews are brewed on site. Josh Rappaport is Rock Bottom's brewmaster, creating fresh craft beers where peak flavors are always the rule. Grab one of their blockbuster beers to pair with their nachos, pretzel bites, and delicious flatbreads. They even have group catering. They boast one of the best views of downtown Nashville and is a short walk to Titan Stadium. And enjoy happy hour Monday through Friday afternoons from 2 until 6. Rock Bottom Nashville, 111 Broadway.
Do you have a VA or FHA home loan? You gotta listen to this important update from Loan Pronto. You can refi now and snag a new rate in the low 2s. Lower your house payment big time. Hey, it's Willie Daunic, and wait, it gets even better. With Loan Pronto, you can do this with no appraisal, no income documentation, and no cash due at signing. Who else does this? VA and FHA mortgage rates have come down a lot. You need to act now. Loan Pronto specializes in VA and FHA streamlined loan. They can even cover all your closing costs, and you will love their all-digital, no-hassle process. Call Loan Pronto now or go to loanpronto.com. They also have options where VA homeowners can refinance and get cash out of your home's equity, up to 100% of its value, pay off credit cards, or do that home improvement project. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. VA and FHA loans made simple, 615-499-5780. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans eligible for zero-cost refi.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Curation CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Curation CBD. Curation means healing, and that right there says it all. Curation is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Curacion is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets too. Order yours now at CuracionCompany.com. Curacion CBD, curated for life.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's time for Darren, Daunic, and Chase. With hosts Darren McFarland, Willie Daunic, and Chase McCabe. On Nashville's best sports talk,
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
One o'clock hour, Darren, Daunic, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game. We're streaming on the Game Nashville app. You can watch us on Twitch, Twitter, all those things, YouTube as well. Make sure you're subscribing so you can see. We're hanging out here at the Vanderbilt Legends Club for Brent Peterson's golf tournament today as Willie got done playing. Oh, you got the pictures
Got
over
my
here.
squad.
Yeah, looking good. Looking good. See, we can.
Got my guys
There
hanging
you
from
go.
Crossville.
There you go if you're watching.
Cookville, Crossville area.
Very cool.
Big Preds fans. They come in for every game.
Oh,
from,
that's
from
awesome.
Crossville. Awesome.
Darren is about to tee off, so he's done with us for the day. But taking your reaction to the Titans losing yesterday to the Arizona Cardinals, and we have hit a lot of different things, Willie, today, as you can imagine, on this one, whether it's the offense, the defense, the penalties, the kicking woes.
Oh.
Mike Vrabel did address that in his press conference. Said we got to find a guy that's going to help us win. Randy Bullock is on the practice squad. I made the prediction to Darren that I think by Wednesday, Randy Bullock's the kicker for the Tennessee Titans.
So?
I think Michael Badgley's time is done here. You don't have time to wait around on that.
If it doesn't happen for Bullock, then you go to Keith Bullock.
Yes,
he can kick in week 3.
Teron Davenport said if he goes and gets some steel-toed shoes, he'll be able to kick. So
Sure.
maybe he'll get a chance. Ladarius, our engineer here, he's going to go try out. So I think anybody has a chance at this point. But
man, I had the unique experience of sitting.
yeah,
in the
you were
stands.
there. You were actually there yesterday.
I went to the game yesterday, and I sat in the upper deck. And I'll tell you what, the reaction of the fans, it was hilarious to listen to. I mean, not at the time. Everybody's really frustrated, but the whistling and the howling for Badgley.
Oh, I'm sure.
He took a beat. The poor guy hasn't, first impression, you missed the extra point.
Not a good
knew
one.
that was a recipe for disaster.
So the offense.
And the sarcastic cheer when he did make the extra point.
Like, oh,
everybody was
finally.
booing because it was 24-12, and people were thinking, well, the guy's missed 2, so let's just go for 2. Everybody's like, go for 2, come on. It's just typical from the hip knee-jerk reaction. You see him walking out there, then what are they doing? And then he made it, and there was this sarcastic cheering that he made it.
What did you think of the offensive play calling from Todd Downing, his first shot at being the offensive coordinator of this team? He obviously has experience with the Raiders as an OC. You mentioned you were there, you were in the stands, but you saw the game. The first 4 possessions, or first 3 possessions, starting with run plays that went nowhere. They could never get the run established until much later in the game when really it was out of reach.
It was really rough. I don't think there's any way around it. I think what I was wondering was, did we not see the play action, the rhythm, the basis of all their success last year, just simply because every running play was a negative play, it seemed like, for about the first 4 or 5 carries? It was really tough because they just did not get the offensive line play. They got dominated by the opposition's front 4. We know about the sacks, but I thought in the running game early, too, they never got any. They had so many plays where somebody was unblocked. It seemed like the guys shooting through low were able to get a piece of Derrick Henry. That's really the only way you can stop him, is you got to stop him before he gets going. And there were so many carries where they had contact on him before he could get momentum going and then start doing the damage that he always does. So the thing that was sitting with me throughout the first half was, okay, you've got the rustiness of Taylor Lewan, you've got the rustiness of Ben Jones and Nate Davis, who didn't practice until just a couple of days before the first game, and then all of the question marks at right tackle. And I think you put it all together, and you had a very shaky offensive line that I would have to hope there's something better.
Yeah.
But so how much of that is on Downing, I don't know. I was concerned that I was like, you know what, they have not hit the play action, drop back, hit the slant pass. How many times did we see that last year? It was their bread and butter. It was Henry and then fake to Henry, boom, hit a guy for run after catch. None of that resembled anything, but they never got the running part started. So I don't know how much of it, but they didn't scheme their way into anything. And so that was concerning. It's like, why aren't we seeing guys, all of this stuff that we talked about over the offseason? You can't cover everybody.
Yeah.
Well, they covered everybody.
Right.
Nobody. The guy they were throwing to more than anybody else early was Chester Rogers.
Yeah.
I was like, wait a minute. That's your best. That's the best they can do?
He led the way with 62 yards.
I know. It was very.
Including a 39-yarder.
Very, very interesting to see. It's like, that's not exactly what you want to have the score sheet look like.
Yeah. Rogers was targeted 6 times. A.J. Brown was targeted 8 times, but it took a while to get to that point.
Right. Well, once you get midway through the third and you're down 31-13, then it's all bets are off. It's not the game plan at that point. You don't plan on having to go there.
Julio was 6 times. No, but you don't plan on it.
How many did Julio and A.J. have at the half? Who had the most at the half?
Let's see. At the half, Rogers was targeted 3 times. A.J. Brown was targeted 3 times. Julio had been targeted 3 times at that point. Julio made the 1 catch for 9 yards. A.J. had the 1 catch for 12 yards. And Ferkser had also been targeted 3 times and caught 3 times for 19 yards. Rogers had 2 catches for 43.
Okay.
So a bulk of what he did came in the first half, including that 39-yarder. But my point is that I just didn't understand. I mean, I understand the whole philosophy of establish the run, but it was pretty apparent that they weren't able to do that. Henry was still getting warmed up. He didn't have that burst that you usually see right away. It started to come to him later, and all the woes of the offensive line. And by the time they got to the point where they were trying to pass on first down, they're already down 10-0.
Yeah.
Things were getting away from them.
I also wondered, we know Derrick Henry, the thing that we always talk about is he gets better the more he carries it. I just wonder about the first 5-10 carries of the season when he hadn't played.
Yeah.
Maybe there was just a little bit of rust, a little bit of the engine running. He certainly didn't have any holes to run into, but just a combination of all of these things where it's just the worst nightmare. Everything that you go down the list of, what are you worried about the night before the game? What keeps you up at night?
Sure.
If you're Mike Vrabel, what could go wrong? If you go down that list, it all went wrong.
Yeah.
For the most part.
And my whole thing is that's where it's not so much playing in the preseason. I've said I don't care as much about playing preseason games. It's the practice.
Mm-hmm.
And it's the fact that you don't have everybody out there at the same time. You don't have those guys on the field at the same time. Yes, I know there were days where, okay, A.J. Brown's here, but Derrick Henry's working in the sand pit, or Julio's out there watching, but he's not actually practicing. It's getting everybody on the field at the same time that I wanted to see.
And it may not – I don't think it was by choice in a lot of cases. I think if they had their druthers, they would have practiced more. But it just – the quarterback had COVID. A couple of offensive linemen had COVID. A couple of guys were hurt. A couple of guys are coming off of long-term injuries that weren't ready to practice. So I will go back to what Scott Pioli told us last week, Chase, that you have to hang your hat on, is that you have to bank, especially with 17 games, that this will fall into place over time, that what they are now is not going to be what they are in December.
Sure.
And it's about being at your best in December. So I know that people are sitting there going, well, what about all the teams that did look great yesterday? Okay.
The first
credit
week
to those
is
teams. But it's not, still the most important thing is where are you going to be over the course of 2-3 months as you build. And you can't dig. If you're going to have some holes, can you make sure you have it fixed and not dig too much of a hole that you can't get out of it?
Right.
Like the 2009 Titans.
Right.
So we have seen the nightmares, right? 2001. 2009, coming off of really powerful seasons, high expectations, where it just didn't go well. It started off bad, and it did not. It was too late by the time they got it right.
Well, and one of the things Darren and I talked about a few minutes ago, I asked him the question. I'll ask you the same thing. I get it. It's one game. You can put this in the category of overreaction Monday, but you're seeing a lot of the same problems, especially on defense, that we talked about all offseason. Can't get off the field on third down. Arizona converted 52% of their third down attempts yesterday. That's not good enough. So you're seeing a lot of that same stuff. Is there a point where one of the coordinators gets, where they don't last the whole season? One of these new coordinators. And I look more towards the defense because Shane Bowen technically, according to Mike Vrabel, was the defensive coordinator last year. Now he actually has the title. And you brought in Jim Schwartz to be an advisor or whatever. You brought him in. So is there a point, and I even took it a step further, where, because, Darren was, and I get this too, Mike Vrabel is loyal to a fault. He's going to be loyal to his guys. But at what point does he get told, no, you got to make a change? Well, at what point does the pressure come on Robinson where Robinson has to step in and say, no, we're making a change? Again, it's one game.
I'm not close to that yet. Yeah. I'm not considering that because on the defensive side, I put me in the category of I am 100% tipping my cap to Kyler Murray. I thought he was incredible yesterday. I thought the defense was about what I thought it would be. I think on the right day, the defense ends up having a pretty good day, all things considered. You didn't go in there thinking that Arizona wasn't going to score. They got a super short field for two of the touchdowns. One was a defensive touchdown or, half-yard line. The other one is a very, very short field. So that's not on the defense. You'd like to see them somehow keep them out of the end zone. But they made plays. They made incredible plays.
Mike Vrabel praised Christian Fulton.
I thought there was a lot of plays where the coverage was good coverage.
Yep.
And you had a perfect throw and an outstanding catch where the play is defensed well. I really was not that worried about the defense yesterday. I'm okay with that. It was the offense that just couldn't get it right. Couldn't get it right from the start.
So you mentioned that you were there. You were sitting in the stands, and I don't know, when was the last time you had actually gone to a game in the stands?
I try to go. Of course, last year we couldn't go.
I went one last year, yeah. When we could.
I try to go to one or two each year. I don't remember if I went to one in 2019. Some of it just depends on when the games fall, when the Predators start. But there were a couple things. It's interesting. Joe Rexrode had his thoughts. I was listening to him this morning. He wrote a column about it. I honestly thought there were quite a bit more Arizona fans than I thought there would be. I thought it was not an insignificant number. It was nothing close to what it is when it's the Cowboys or the Steelers or somebody like that. But they had – what you have is there are ticket brokers that own the seats behind the visiting team in the lower level where the word Titans is written in there if you're watching the game on TV. There was a lot of fans in there. From it's not that they're in there. I think if the number was the same and they were speckled throughout the upper deck, which is where a lot of them were, and you don't really see them because they're not clustered. They're clustered behind the thing. The bad look is – they all seem to be able to get their tickets together in the TV shot.
Right.
And if they were on the other side, if they were on the other sideline, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. The Titans, because you don't see that on TV. But on TV, you see the red. I was sitting on that side of the field too, so I was looking down on that. To me, it was noticeable for an opening day. It was not a full sellout in terms of every seat being full, but it was close. It was a good crowd.
67, I believe, is
that's what they said. I don't know what the full capacity is, but
69.
So it was nice. A good crowd. So I don't know. I thought they did a good job of getting everybody in there, which was a problem with the ticketless thing and the preseason games. There was not a
I heard no issues
there
with
was
that.
not a backup getting in, which I was concerned about because I had heard about that in the preseason. So they got that right. The biggest thing that was a problem for me in the fan experience type of thing was the concession lines, at least in the upper deck, very, very long, thick, and it was very hard to get in there and get places to do what you wanted to do with straight-up concessions. I think they need to turn that up a little bit, just a little more efficiency.
Yeah.
Get people through the line quicker.
I heard
the lines just didn't move very well.
People were texting in saying that they missed most of the second quarter because they were in line to get stuff.
I went 2 or 3 times and peeked at the line and said, I don't want to miss the game, so I'm going back in. So that's money that they're leaving on the table, because if you see a line during the game of 3 or 4 people, that's fine. But backed up outside of the ropes, which is where it was, that's no bueno.
Right. No, and that's something they got to get figured out. Now, one thing that how many of those concession stands are volunteers? And I know that there are some volunteers, like you get a stand like a baseball team or whatever. How many are actually employees? I know that everyone has a shortage right now, of servers of manpower. But when you know that you're going to have 67,000 people in that stadium, you got to get that figured out. I mean, you cannot, especially after a game like that, like in an organization that's gotten beat up a lot, and a lot of it they brought on themselves, but you're trying to get people excited for a stadium reno and all that stuff. You can't have issues like that. So,
that's something you got to work on. Another observation I saw, they had made some personnel changes to the game presentation crew. And, of course, none of us – I shouldn't say none, because there were limited fans at some point during last year.
Yeah,
so
I
don't know what
I went to the Lions game.
I don't know what you saw. But it's the first time I'd seen – I was looking to say, okay, have they spruced up the game presentation? I was kind of disappointed. I thought it was about the same as it's been.
Well, they have a new PA announcer.
They had the great – and, he was all right. I would say – of course, they had the 9/11 thing, which was great, the flyover. The TSU band at halftime was great. These are all things that are customarily part of the thing. I was hoping for a little more spruce, better music, between because the TV timeouts are so tedious.
Yeah.
For an NFL game, there's nothing you can do about it. So that's where you really have to be working to keep things moving. You want to have some fun stuff going on. And, it was just a lot of put the guy on the Jumbotron, read the sponsor, or answer a quiz or something like that. Just not a lot of outside-the-box
Did they do
thinking and film, the pump-up films and videos.
Did they do the 12th Titan?
I was hoping for more.
Did they have the 12th Titan? With the sword and everything?
I think because of the 9/11 thing, I didn't see any big presentation of that, but I think they had to get everybody in position because it was synced up throughout the league.
Right, which it was cool. By the way, watching on TV,
I liked it.
I was watching the game, and then I had Red Zone on, and they showed it at every stadium and would do cut-ins of every stadium.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
and there
really
was some
cool.
thought. I think the league did a good job. There was some thought put into, okay, it is September 12th, and the nation will have already gone through this yesterday. And, of course, for a lot of us, there's sort of a few days leading up. People, the weekday. So they put a wrinkle on, here's what we're talking about for September 12th. I thought that was well done.
So just as an aside on that, because I've heard the phrase for the first time ever, 9/12. People saying like 9/12 and referring to how after 9/11 and what an awful day that was and everything that had transpired, how 9/12, that was when everybody came together and was more united than ever. And
I think that was sort of their theme, right? That's what they did.
And now more than ever, we need to remember that and pay attention to that.
Heck yeah.
So I was really glad to see that, because you're right. Like it took a horrible tragedy and loss of life. And, I spent a lot of Friday after the show. I watched, I texted you guys. WWE was the first to come back. 2 days later, they did an event in Houston. And I watched a documentary on that, and that was emotional, and the decision, Vince McMahon's decision to do it, and how he was encouraged to do it, and so that's why they did it. And then I watched a Football Life or timeline, NFL timeline, talking about that and Herm Edwards was featured a lot in it.
Coach of the Jets at the time.
Yeah, coaching the Jets, and then you had.
And he's told those stories on our station a few times. About that time,
and I had forgotten what it was. So Kevin Mawai was the center, and Kevin Mawai was the player rep, and Michael Strahan was the player rep for the Giants, and how they both went to Strahan went to Jim Fossil, and Mawai went to Herm and said, "Hey, we're not playing."
Yeah,
and that was it. I mean, the rest of the league was like, "All right, well, then we're not playing." That was That's what it was.
I don't know if you remember this, Chase, but in Nashville, the high schools did play on that Friday.
They did, yeah.
And I remember thinking, "Is this the right thing?" I think everybody, regardless of when things resumed, everybody, regardless of whether it was a week, 2 weeks, or whatever, when you resumed, you still had this feeling of, "Is this right? Should we be playing?" And then when they started playing and they started having the gathering, and I think it felt good. It felt like relief. I watched the MLB.
Everything was off a week.
The MLB network did a great thing on the first game, that Braves-Mets game, first game in New York after. And they had all the players involved in that game who had grown up in the New York area. It was really well done. I got very emotional watching that because I had a teammate of mine at Vanderbilt from New York City, Mark Hindy, who, if you go to Hawkins Field, there's a memorial for him there. He was at the top of one of the towers working for Cantor Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
And so we lost him, and, boy, that was so tough because if you remember the days after was, trying to account for everybody.
Right.
You didn't know for sure. You
watched
were worried
the
about
red
that.
bandana.
Sure, all
Wells
of that
Crowther.
stuff. So it was, of course, being 20 years, you're a little more tuned into this kind of thing. It's just amazing to go back and watch.
Well,
but everybody had to make their decision. When do we delve back into it? But regardless of when you made that decision, I just think there's so much great coming together of people that takes place there. And where I think everybody hit the right note.
No, they did.
They knew what to do.
And
even though they didn't know, they knew.
Right.
You just don't know what to expect. Okay, is this okay? And then when you get there, I think people did a great job of using sports in the right context.
I was flipping through channels on Saturday night, and I flipped on Fox, I guess it was, and they had the Yankees and the Mets playing at Citi Field. And I loved the Mets had the white unis with New York.
Yep.
Like written across. The Yankees were wearing their road with New York.
Mm-hmm.
They were all wearing the FDNY or the NYPD hats. And that was, it just
awesome.
brought back memories.
It
It was, I watched YouTube George Bush throwing out the first pitch, in that game, and, how cool that was. But so anyway, thought all the tributes were very well done. When we come back, we're going to go around the league. Elijah's got some things prepared as we'll go around the NFL and do that. But first, Willie, you're going to tell us about Loan Pronto.
All right, let's talk about Loan Pronto. We know that as we keep moving forward here, you still have a great opportunity with the mortgage rates as low as they are. You can get a mortgage rate, an APR rate, in the twos. You can get it in the twos. And so if your mortgage rate starts with 3, you need to call Loan Pronto at 615-499-5780 and ask about that zero-cost refi because it's going to save you money. Number one, once you go through the process, which is a really digital, streamlined process, there's a lot less hassles and red tape that there used to be in this. And so within a few weeks, you can find yourself lowering your house payment in the long term. And this is a great thing. You get to skip the next house payment or two when you refinance. So take advantage. What are you waiting for? If you've been hearing me do these commercials, make that call. See if they can help you. Because in this area, with the home values the way they are, they probably can. So call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780. Or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender.
NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans eligible for zero-cost option.
Hang out with us every weekday starting at 6 a.m. with Robbie and Rexroad.
I really am. You gotta be. I mean, I just totally am. You've gotta be.
Darren, Daunic, and Chase from 10 to 2.
Good participation.
We have a system now, thank goodness.
I had a funny moment happen.
And Stillman and Company from 2 to 6.
I have a story.
Get a cupcake.
Watch live on Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. Tune in anytime on the Game Nashville app or your home speaker. This is Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Hey.
Hey.
Nice tailgate setup.
Thanks. Dos Equis?
Sure.
Really hits the spot.
Oh, yeah, that's good. Well, I hope your team never wins as long as I'm alive.
Same to you.
A dose of respect. Brought to you by Dos Equis, proud sponsor of college football. Get a dose. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2021. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
After a thrilling opening week to the NFL, week 2 is here, and Robbie Stanley here to tell you the recliner's ready. Now all you got to do is log on to FanDuel Sportsbook and claim your risk-free bet. FanDuel Sportsbook giving all customers a risk-free bet for week 2 of the NFL season. The Bucks back in action this week, taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The money line, the over-under, prop bets, same-game parlays, everything is on the table, and that's one of the many reasons I love betting with FanDuel Sportsbook. It's America's #1 sportsbook. It's easy to use, and they get you your money quickly in as little as 24 hours. So if you're new to FanDuel Sportsbook, sign up today with promo code ROB to also receive a risk-free bet up to $1,000. Once again, that promo code is ROB. You must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable site credit that expires in 7 days. A max refund of $10. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Got a gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
With all the new people moving here recently, we thought it'd be a good idea to explain Genesis Diamonds. If you've lived here a while, you know all this, so bear with us. Genesis Diamonds is not an ordinary jewelry store. It was started decades ago by a major diamond wholesaler based in Tel Aviv. He was the diamond supplier for hundreds of upscale jewelry stores. Then he decided to start selling direct to the public at prices that undercut traditional jewelers in a big way. This no middleman approach caught on fast and disrupted the traditional jewelry business model forever. Today, Genesis Diamonds continues that extraordinary value promise. With the highest quality diamonds, the lowest prices, the strongest guarantees, exceptional service, and a mind-blowing selection of fine diamonds and exclusive designer jewelry. So if you've just moved here from New York or California or wherever, we invite you to discover the secret the locals are well aware of. Genesis Diamonds. Just another great reason you made the move to this extraordinary place we're proud to call home.
Here they come, turn 4.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Every Saturday morning at 9, we hit the big topics. The Ally 400, Kyle Busch, frustrated, Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, and talk to the big names.
I'll go ahead and blame you.
Oh, I think it's big.
Could go a lot of different directions right now.
I was so impressed.
How cool that's going to be.
It's Chasing Checkers, Saturday morning at 9 on ESPN 102.5 The Game and wherever you get your podcast.
Hey Nashville, this is David Poyle. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Tune in to Nashville Sounds Baseball tomorrow night on ESPN 94.9 as the Sounds begin a 6-game road trip against the Gwinnett Stripers, AAA affiliate of the Atlanta Braves. Nashville Sounds Baseball presented by 312 Pizza Company at Farm Bureau and Farm Bureau Health Plans. Welcome back in to Darren, Daunic, and Chase. We are presented by Creation CBD. Creation CBD. CBD products curated for life. Chase McCabe, Willie Daunic out here at the Vanderbilt Legends Club as Brent Peterson's golf tournament is ongoing. Before we go around the NFL, Brent wants to weigh in on our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. He has a comment on Taylor Lewan. Brent, welcome in.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Great.
Doing well.
So I just wanted to get your thoughts on, he's got a social media presence and all that stuff, but he put this tweet out, and you guys might have already talked about it, but apologizing to the fans and tagging Chandler Jones, who dominated him the other day, and it said it would only force him to get better. he's getting paid $16 million a year already. I don't understand. And maybe you guys have a better take on it than I do, but it's highly frustrating to see someone go on social media and apologize for not doing their job. I get it. Chandler Jones is a beast. I get it. But I just kind of wanted to hear your guys' thoughts on why is he apologizing? I mean, maybe he should focus less on podcast and focus on playing football. I don't know.
So let me ask you this, Brent, because we talked about this a little bit earlier, and I'm with you. Like
I didn't hear it.
No, you're totally fine.
This is new for me.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I've
you're
been
new to
waiting
the
to weigh
discussion
on
too,
this,
Willie.
yes.
So Darren and I took issue with the tweet because we feel like that's something that, and you know, I don't know if he said no, I'm not talking to the media, or they said no, you're not talking to the media. It's very different right now. It used to be after games, you walk around in the locker room, you go up and you ask a guy a question. It's not that way, obviously, with everything going on. But for me, with somebody that is as vocal as Taylor Lewan is, he's never afraid to talk. He started a podcast because he likes to talk, and I'm totally cool with that. Why wouldn't you address that and actually face, you know, the media, answer the questions when you had such a bad game? Everybody else is doing it, so why wouldn't you?
That's the part that surprised me, is that he was not accessible to the media. I don't know if that was by choice. I don't know how they did that. I don't know how they did the post game.
They brought a lot of guys to the podium, but then they also brought some guys outside the locker room.
Okay. And he was not one of the guys they brought out.
But he's done it before, guys. I mean, he's done it. He, apologized for his penalties. Oh, the penalties are killing him.
Yeah.
He's just trying to do a preemptive strike against what's going to happen because, I mean, I tweeted at him, and I was probably emotional at the time because I'm a lifelong Titans fan. I said,
no.
Get a teardrop tattoo.
Passionate Titans fans being emotional after that game? No way. But, you know, Brent, it's fun. Brent, I think here is how I look at it. I think Brent is one of a number of people. I actually listened to some of the post-game radio stuff yesterday. Same kind of tone, you know, and they centered it on that too. I think really, when you really boil it down, Taylor Lewan was going to get lit up by the fans even if he didn't tweet at all. He was going to like, hey, he's making $6 million. Hey, why didn't he do better than that? It wouldn't have mattered if he tweeted or not. I know that when you put yourself out there with the podcast, with the social media presence, with the appearances that he does, this goes with the territory. You're going to get hammered that much more when people are mad at you. So I don't think that's a big deal. I think what is a big deal is, and I think he's just trying to he's trying to get himself right. He's trying to say, you know what, just like the rest of this team, this has got to snap me back into what I need to be doing, and that's play better football. I trust that Taylor Lewan was working as hard as he possibly could to get ready to play coming off that knee injury. I don't think he was slumming because he's worried about the podcast or worried about his social media
and he hasn't
presence.
been doing it.
I don't think he's like that. I think at the end of the day, he's a fierce competitor that just had a bad game. He had a horrible game, and he knows it.
Anything that he is on with the podcast right now was taped before training camp. So he hasn't been doing it. A lot of the stuff was taped before the season started. So I'm not, and some people do. Some people like he needs to quit the podcast and focus more on football. I'm not one of those people.
I have never listened to that podcast, but I have no problem with him doing that.
Well,
if that's what he wants to do.
I think it's well done. I like the podcast.
I know he's got a huge following with that. But my point is, if you want to do it, great. If you don't, that's great too. But it has nothing to do with the fact that he just didn't have a good game.
Right.
Yesterday. He just chooses to go. Some people choose to not have any social media presence, and some people go put themselves out there. When they do, they're going to get hammered when they are in the spotlight.
But here's my thing. He's never afraid to get up in front of the podium and say, "Dad's here," and do all the fun things.
And he says, "I screwed up."
Right, but do that. I would rather yesterday. Like, he has apologized before. He has taken ownership before, and I've backed him up. And I have said, hey, good for you. You got there. You faced the music. Now do something about it. Are there going to be words, or are you actually going to go do something about it? And guess what? When he called himself out, and this was in front of reporters, when he called himself out on the penalties, Guess what he didn't do the rest of the year?
No
he didn't have
penalties.
penalties.
Yeah.
He backed it up. When he got suspended, he faced the firing squad, so to speak. Like, he walked up there and he answered every question and he took ownership of it, and he used that as a learning moment. So why change now? And again, as we prefaced earlier, I don't know if they told him not to or what the deal was, which if that's the case, then shame on them. Because
listen, they could have had the line 45 players long.
Yeah,
but
but
I screwed up and didn't do a good job.
Right.
I just, once again, it was surprising to me. Again, I sat in the stands.
Sure.
He got booed, and this is the PA announcer says, back in the game, number 77, Taylor Lewan.
He got booed.
Which I don't know that every PA announcer does that kind of thing.
No, they do some, but yeah.
But he announced particular things sometimes.
Sure.
Back in the game X. And when they did that, after he missed the 2 series, there were boos.
Yeah.
But I was kind of thinking to myself, you know what, guys? Did you watch Kendall Lamb play in the 2 series? Are you really booing the guy coming back in there? Because Kendall Lamb did worse.
I would take
he did worse.
50% Taylor Lewan over Kendall Lamb because, woof, that was bad. All right, we got off on that for a second. Elijah, I know you have some stuff prepared. Let's go around the league.
Indeed. Busy day yesterday. Obviously, the Titans team we hit on here a lot had a interesting day themselves, but that's where I'll start off. The disappointing offenses around the league. It wasn't just the Titans that were held below what the expected average would be, as the Packers and Bills combined for a whopping 19 points yesterday. 16, actually. 16 points between the two of them yesterday.
Math.
Yeah, it's hard. I went to MTSU. It's not our thing. Which is more concerning moving forward? The Packers offense, the Bills offense, or the Titans offense?
I think the number one thing when we bring these things forward is to put it in perspective. If you're a Titans fan, they are not alone. Even if you're a Titans player, you're not alone in teams that had a what the heck moment yesterday. This isn't us. What in the world just happened? But to answer his question, I'm more concerned about I wasn't one that thought the distractions and everything with Green Bay would be a thing. And I'm still not that concerned, but 3 points. I never in a million years thought they'd come up with 3. No way.
Saints defense pretty good.
I think the distractions are a thing.
Okay.
With Green Bay. Buffalo, I'm not that concerned about Buffalo. So I think they do get it turned around. I mean, I was dismissing Pittsburgh. I was saying that I thought Buffalo would take care of them, but I got to give Darren credit that he stood by Pittsburgh and what they do, especially earlier in the year. So you got to give credit where credit is due. But the thing is, when you talk about offenses, and I'm sure you're going to ask about this a little bit more later, the toughest division in the league that we've identified as the toughest division in the league, the NFC West. They all won yesterday, and their offenses look pretty damn good.
Yep. You better get it right because you play all of them for the Titans.
Yep.
It's funny you say that because number 2 is that all 4 NFC West teams won their game, 3 of which were on the road. So which one of those teams looked the most impressive to you?
I have to admit, the only one I really watched just because I was at the Titans games, I was very impressed with the Rams. I thought they just, on offense, they looked so confident. They just had that feeling coming up to the line of scrimmage.
Stafford looked so happy.
We can run whatever we want here, and it's going to work. Stafford looked confident, comfortable with the new guys. Scary good. Rams look scary good. Because, honestly, I didn't think the Bears played that bad. The Bears did okay.
Yeah.
Now, defensively, they look like they've maybe lost a little bite from where they were a couple years ago, but they actually made some first downs and had the ball for a while against a really, really good offense.
Their experiment at quarterback.
Right, we know where that's going.
I mean,
we know where that's going.
I don't know why they're doing that. Yeah. For me, I mean, it's hard not to say the Rams, but I did check in on the 49ers a little bit. Trey Lance, his first career touchdown pass, 5-yarder to
Anchor down.
Trent Sherfield.
Anchor down.
The former Commodore.
Yep.
So he finds him. They used a 2-quarterback system yesterday with Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance. So I thought that they looked pretty good. Obviously, what we saw here in Nashville, Kyler Murray looked the part. I'm curious to hear what Jared has to say a little later on, because he was not very high on Kyler Murray.
He was incredible. Come on. Some of those think about the best plays you ever saw, Doug Flutie and Johnny Manziel and Fran Tarkington, and, pick some other guys who can move like that. I don't know. I still don't know if I've ever seen anybody move that quick, moving on a dime, changing directions like Murray did.
Yeah.
Now, just live. That's the thing that, for me, was exciting, because that's what I'll remember about this game. Besides, hey, I went to opening day and the Titans stunk it out. We'll remember that. But I'll remember, you know what? I got to see Kyler Murray live, and he was incredible. He made some highlight reel plays that I just think you could 5 or 10 years from now when they run those plays back. Those are plays. What can Kyler Murray do? They're going to have some plays on there because, like I said before, they were not poorly defensed.
No.
They were well defensed. It was too good. You had to tip your cap.
And then Seattle made Indy look silly. What else you got?
All right, number 3. Jameis Winston throws 5 touchdowns, no picks, and under 200 yards. Should we believe in him moving forward with Sean Payton as his head coach?
I'm surprised you didn't lead with this, being the Saints fan that you are.
I had to bury it a little bit. You have to disguise it a little bit.
You've been eating dubs all day. Like you're feeling it.
Oh, it felt good.
I mean, it happened. So is it the Sean Payton effect, or is it Green Bay just wasn't ready to play there in Jacksonville where the game was played?
This is always the discussion after week 1 is what's real, what is going to be a theme for weeks, and what is that was a wild first week crazy moment. And we look back on it saying, what happened? Like, we know the Buccaneers were a disaster last year. The Saints embarrassed the Bucs last year on the first day of the season. And the Bucs turned out okay. They were all right. Things worked out. But I do think that with Winston, just being there for a year to build up to that moment yesterday, it probably is a good thing.
Backing up Drew Brees can't hurt.
Yep.
Being on the team with him. So it was impressive. I need to see it again, but I was impressed with his debut as a starter.
And that defense, still pretty good. It does help when you only have to score more than 3 points to win a football game. Number 4, there were 3 rookie quarterbacks making their NFL debuts. Rough one from Trevor Lawrence, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 332 yards. Zach Wilson, 258 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick with a 28 QBR. And Mac Jones throwing for 281, 1 touchdown, no picks with a 75 QBR, which leads me to this. Which rookie QB won what I like to call the RG3 award for being the best in their debut?
Best in the debut.
Ooh.
As a Saints fan, I remember that game all too clearly.
I mean, do you go Zach Wilson by default just because it was a close game?
Well, they had no points going into pretty late, and they took a long time to get points on the board of any kind. So
Corey Davis looked pretty
good. Lawrence had
Corey Davis ended up with good numbers.
Lawrence had
as
some
we
flashes.
know, Chase, because we
he did.
Corey Davis on our team.
Lawrence had some flashes, but as you mentioned, the 3 picks weren't very good.
Mac Jones.
It was a close one, 17-16.
But he's got more around him. You're kind of thinking, he should have more success.
Can I say Trey Lance? He threw a touchdown.
He was 1 for 1. He was a perfect 100% on the air with a touchdown. It's hard to beat that in terms of efficiency.
And honestly, Fields just
when he Fields had the rushing touchdown.
They had a package that looked good when he was out there. So
that experiment.
That's an incomplete question. It's a good question. It points out how hard it is to come in and light it up.
We've kind of sidestepped out of it, Elijah.
Fair enough. I see what you did there, but I'll give it to Mac Jones anyway. Give me the efficiency and the almost win.
If I had to pick one, that's what
I'll go Mac. Yeah. He's on our fantasy team too.
All right, so he gets the award there. Number 5, Patrick Mahomes pulls another rabbit out of his hat. A big second-half comeback against the Cleveland Browns team that's got a lot of hype coming into this year. So, which leads me to this question: is this a classic Browns choke, or are the Chiefs just that much better when they turn the switch on?
I have been, in all of my preparation for the season, whatever you want to call it, just reading up on what people are right. And the big question was, if you're going to get the Chiefs, you better get them early because they have a tougher schedule and they have this new offensive line that they all believe will be more talented once they get it together. So that was scary that they were able to, come from that far behind. So I'm just going to say it's the latter. It's the Chiefs.
Well, I can tell you this.
It's not the Browns. I think the Browns are pretty good.
I think they are too. But two things. At the half, the Chiefs were plus 200 on the money line, and I didn't think twice about it. I jumped on it, and it worked in my favor. The second thing is,
how many times were they sort of bored and sort of playing to their competition last year, and then they just, as the game goes on, they flip the switch and it happens for them. That was one of those kind of things.
The second thing is, if you're Baker Mayfield and you're trying to become one of the highest paid quarterbacks in the league, you got to win games like that, especially when you have the lead. And he didn't. I think they're a good team. I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's elite, but I think he's a good quarterback.
He's a good actor.
He's good. I love those commercials.
The season 2, I think, is better than season 1.
No, this is season 3.
This is season 3?
Yeah, that he's done this.
Wow,
he's watering the plants.
It's pretty good.
It's so
the
good.
yard sale?
Yeah. I think they're going to be fine, but you got to win games like that on the road if you're going to be considered, a top-tier quarterback.
And that is a high bar there. Going into Arrowhead, that's a high bar. I think the Browns are going to be all right.
GEHA Field at Arrowhead.
Oh, yes.
Has a name on
Sorry.
it.
New one. And last one, our old friend Arthur Smith made his coaching debut in Atlanta yesterday. 6 points, 4.1 yards per play, 3.6 yards per pass, which leads me to this. Is the challenge of coaching the Atlanta Falcons a lot bigger than we thought? And how should Falcons fans feel about this offensive makeover after 1 week?
They stink.
They're bad, especially when you consider the Eagles aren't supposed to be that good. And while we're at it, just one other note about the Nissan Stadium experience.
Yeah.
That game was the only score that was being updated throughout the game.
Really?
On the ticker in the corner of the stadium where you want to see a scroll of scores.
Yeah.
Now, I know we can look at our phones, but of course it's spotty, the Wi-Fi, or it's not even Wi-Fi. It's just, if you can get it on your phone. I could get it, but just for the principle of the matter, they had a ticker. They had the game on Thursday's final score. Thanks, guys. Hadn't seen that one.
Yeah.
Buccaneers against Cowboys. Yeah, that was 3 days ago. We know that one. Then they had the Eagles-Falcons score scrolling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Great.
Where are the other 6, 7, 8 games that were going on? Then they had Bears against Rams tonight at 7.
Great.
That's okay, but I don't need an update on that game.
I need to know
I want to know
on.
what's going on in the other games, okay? And then about twice or 3 times during the game, the guy comes on and gives a couple of clips of highlights, which is fine. But how about a real ticker? What happened there? I don't know what happened.
I agree.
We got to pick it up. This is an NFL stadium. Let's get the scores up there. Where were they?
It's one game, obviously, but Atlanta's not very good.
No, Atlanta's
and they're not going to be very good. I think they're probably going to finish last in that division.
Theme, you are not alone. The Titans.
I know.
I know the expectations for the Falcons kind of small, but you're not alone in week 1 didn't go so hot.
One quick note, Ryan Fitzpatrick, the MRI confirms a hip subluxation, whatever that is, on injured reserve, but there's no indication yet that his season might be finished. But Tyler Heineke going to be the starter for the football team.
All of my predictions, I had some sort of I was basing my prediction of the Washington football team winning that division on a Fitzmagic.
Go Cowboys.
So much for that.
Go Cowboys. Let's get it done. We'll come back. We'll wrap up today's show. When we come back, Darren, Daunic, and Chase, ESPN 105 The Game.
The Titans get embarrassed on home field in their season opener.
Back of the end zone, caught Hopkins. Did he get in bounds? He did! Touchdown Cardinals!
As they let Kyler Murray do whatever he wanted to do.
Murray will keep it himself, and he's into the end zone untouched.
We're reacting all day to this blunder on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 meteorologist Greg Bobis. Upper 80s and low 90s for your Monday. So warmer temperatures, but low on the humidity. No chance for rain, and mainly
of online betting with more than 25 years in the biz. You need a sportsbook with integrity and longevity, and you need to know when you win, you're gonna get paid. You need a sportsbook that offers all the action to make every game feel like the playoffs. Call today at 1-800-69-BET-US. That's 1-800-MY-BET-US, and they will get you set up faster than I can run the 40. Nobody in the industry gives bigger bonuses than BetUS. I play at BetUS, and so should you. Now is your turn. Join now. Call today at 1-800-69-BET-US. That's 1-800-MY-BET-US. My favorite sports book, BetUS.com.
Up to 200% sign-up bonus. Support the station and use code GAME.
Tell them SAP sent you. Listen up, sports bettors. This is Hall of Famer Warren Sapp here to tell you about my favorite sports book, BetUS.com. I only endorse one sports book, and that's BetUS.com. Just like me, BetUS is the Hall of Famer of online betting with more than 25 years in the biz. Call today, and they will get you set up faster than I can run the 40. I play at BetUS, and so should you. BetUS.com.
Use code GAME for a sign-up bonus.
Tell them SAP sent you.
Jared Stillman.
This show, if you're a listener to it, I think is educated enough to know what a good general manager is.
And Company.
At the end of the day, wins really are all that matters.
Tune in Stillman and Company for your drive home. Weekday afternoons from 2 to 6 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app. Interact with Darren, Daunic, and Chase. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Wrapping things up here on a Monday, Darren, Daunic, and Chase, ESPN 102.5 The Game. Have enjoyed the conversation as we try and put a bow on yesterday and move on to the Seattle Seahawks. So we will have all week to discuss that and that matchup on the road. Not going to be an easy one for sure, but one bright spot of the weekend, and I stayed up late and watched it. You stayed up late and watched it.
I did.
Vandy, after being down 14-0 to Colorado State, they battle back, score 21 unanswered. Colorado State kicks a field goal to take – am I thinking of this right? Yeah, they took the lead, 24-21. Was that right?
Colorado State tied it, and then Vanderbilt
They tied it, and then
win.
Vandy kicked the field goal and won 24-21. It's hot. But a gutsy win, never gave up, a huge road victory for Clark Lee to get his first win.
I'm going to take some credit. I was watching my son play a twilight doubleheader, fall ball, over at Shelby Park.
Yep.
Beautiful night. Get in the car after the game is over, and they're down 14-0. I'm picking up the radio broadcast, and it's kind of like, oh, man, this is not going well. The Commodores are struggling. But Kevin Ingram says, hey, it was a bright spot that they missed the field goals. This could be a lot worse, was the theme. And then I flipped on the TV, and that was the theme of the second half, that they honestly – it could have been 24-28-0 and not 14-0. So they hung in there.
Yep.
And then at the end of the half,
made
right
plays.
when I started watching, not that I'm taking credit, but that's when they started looking like a football team. They found the rhythm. They started protecting Ken Seals. They got the matchups with what should be a productive part of their team, and that is Cam Johnson, Chris Pierce, and this kid, 14. Why am I thinking? Shepard.
Yeah.
He's a talent. You got those three guys, you should be able to get some things done. And I will say this, Colorado State's not a great team, but it's a road win. I just think for the psyche, that was really, really big to have that success to build off it. I don't know how much they'll win from here on out, but just some things that you can hook your claws into and say, okay, here's where we're starting. We're starting here. We bounced back from a horrendous first 5 quarters or so. So I don't think you can put a price on that. That was it was nice to get a W.
You got to learn how to win, and they got to win. Clark Lee going to join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock. That is going to do it for today's edition. Thanks for all your participation. We'll be back at it tomorrow starting at 10. Stick around. Stillman & Company. That's next on ESPN 105 The Game.
Take us wherever you may go.
There are 2 guys on my untouchable list.
Tune us in anywhere, anytime.